in political spaces. We all know recently Destiny was sued, and charges were pressed by various victims who alleged that he uh, did something horrible. He shared their nudes and other sexual content without their consent. He recorded them without their knowledge or consent. And few victims have come forward at this point to allege this. Um, this has caused a large split in the community. And there have been statements such as the one I'm going to read out to you. This is from Cosmic. And Cosmic says this, and he's not the only one to say it. I've heard many different takes, various saying this. No, I don't care about what he did, and you shouldn't give a fuck either. We lost the election because we cannibalized ourselves. The right doesn't hold their operatives accountable for anything, while we further divide ourselves over every topic. No one is perfect. Let people grow. So the topic for tonight's discussion is whether or not we should, and at what points we should ignore the bad actions, the immoral, reprehensible actions of people on our side in order to gain a political victory or edge. Should we be even concentrating on bad actors within our circles when someone as vicious as a threat as Trump, right? When we have such fascists at the door, some might say, should we even care about what influences are on our side do? And that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to give it to Lactoid first. Lactoid, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, can you sound good? Everything
You
audible?
are.
Okay. I'm Lactoid. You can find me at Lactoid TV. I got a couple points here. I mean, there's so many ways, different ways we can talk about this subject. This is, I think, the first time like I'm really like openly talking about it on stream. I've made some references, but I mean, the 4 points here is I think what Destiny did was bad. I think hopefully nobody here is going to argue to the alternative. I mean, what he did was bad enough that even he is banning people who try to defend the actions in his chat because the optics of that are just horrific. Like you just it's bad. How bad in terms of what kind of punishment is prudent, I guess, is going to be a subjective analysis. But the allegations, if true, appear to demonstrate a consistent, repetitive pattern of abuse going over the course of years for somebody in his mid 30s. This isn't like some 14-year-old who made a mistake. This is someone in his mid 30s who has demonstrated a pattern of abuse going back all the way back to the StarCraft days. Which to me, just if the allegations are true, would seem to paint somebody who is very unlikely to reform. And somebody who's unlikely to reform, I mean, that's a big negative, I think, mark on that person. However, do I think anything seriously bad is going to happen to him just practically? Probably not. He's probably going to be fine. He's probably going to get away with it. I'm not holding out for any kind of massive sense of justice like some people are. But I think that the conversation here about this topic is really about his orbiters and his fans and how they've been reacting to this news. I actually have more criticism of his fans rather than his orbiters. I'm more sympathetic to people who are like financially tied to the guy, who feel like, shit, I got to be really sure before I make some, big potential blunder. I understand that position. That and largely, I think a lot of the orbiters have recognized that and still went with it what they believe to be moral. Right? I mean, we have Pisco that was just on. He put out a video separating. Apparently, Destiny said Bridges was over on his comeback stream. I mean, you're seeing a trend of the people who are close to him saying, "Hey, this is too fucked up." Whick, I know when this first came out, you said on stream, "This is kind of fucked up," right? And so, the people who are very close, I think that I've been actually somewhat pleasantly surprised by how willing people are to say this is pretty fucked up. I was expecting there to be more sweeping from those people, but largely, I've actually been relatively impressed. However, the people who I think I have no sympathy for, and I think are to this day pretty pathetic, are like these sycophants, like the person who wrote the tweet that you're referencing, Wick. The people who they have no other interest here, and their brain has been poisoned by this whataboutism tactic that Destiny's been implementing into his audience to the point where they will defend just legitimately abusive behavior. And I think that's, and for no other gain, just to worship the cult that he's created. I think that's pretty shitty.
We're going to talk about it. Thank you for being here. Gang, let's try to keep our openings under a minute. I know we got a lot to say. I know this is a big topic. I know there's a lot of ways to take it, but brevity is the soul of wit. Easy Tiger, what are your thoughts here?
I think Democrats look at Republicans who won the election despite all the bad stuff Trump has done and other Republicans like Matt Gaetz has done, and they think, well, why should our side not excuse this behavior? They won, we should copy them, copy their strategy, and we should also win. But this is flawed because Republicans have an advantage. They are running on populism. They have popular support, and Democrats should limit their behavior.
Hello?
Sorry.
It's okay. Take your time. We'll get to it.
Not my native language.
I understand. Okay, we'll get to you in a second. Roan, what are your thoughts here?
I have an opening statement that I wrote down. If that's okay.
Go ahead.
All right. The difference in philosophies between Democrats and Republicans is that Dems believe in principle above power, which will always lose to the Republican philosophy of power above principle. Given this is true, the principles of the left amount to fashion accessories. I'm paraphrasing, but MLK said in response to the ethic of a will to power that principle by itself is sentimental and anemic, while power is reckless and abusive. Justice is when power gives in to the demands of principle. Those interested in enacting justice must abandon this narcissistic notion of when they go low, we go high. This does not mean that when they go low, we go lower. But on behalf of justice, we must be willing to at least go medium, balancing our need for power for our commitment to our ideals. Otherwise, what is the point?
Okay. Thank you for being here. We'll get into it as we go. Counterpoints. What are your thoughts here?
So for instance, let's say that we were in World War II and we had somebody who had like a sex scandal, right? As a matter of fact, never mind. I have an even better example. Winston Churchill, okay? He's fighting the Nazis, but he fucks up the Bengal famine, okay? And he actually kills tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Indians, right? So are we going to stop mid-war in order to surrender to Nazi Germany, in order to criticize him over the mismanagement of the Bengal famine? Or are you going to win the war first against Nazi Germany and then criticize him for the Bengal famine? And so there's this total like lack of tactical thinking when it comes to power, where I just think that the left is especially prone to cannibalism. I've seen it happen on the right sometimes, but I also think that it's going to be funny. Like, so I would say Lactoid framed this entire conversation within the recent drama within Destiny, and I'm perfectly fine talking about that, and also talking about like the limits of criticism. However, like the actual conversation is, when is it okay to sweep? When is it okay to not sweep? And what's the difference between power and principle? And so just to finish off the example, just to make myself clear, if there was like an existential crisis in the United States that some people would argue we are in right now, are you going to care about somebody's nudes getting leaked if that's the difference between wielding power? I'm not saying that's the case, but you need to weigh evils when you're talking about power and politics. I'll leave it there for now.
Okay. Thank you for being here. I'm sure we will get into it as we go. Last but certainly not least, how do you say your name? Ekti?
Just Cinta is okay.
Cinta? Okay.
Yeah. Hi. First stream ever. Kind of interesting. Like everybody seems so so hardcore. I almost feel outmatched.
You're fine. Give us your take on the subject.
Okay, so I'm more hard on Destiny than I think all of you people. I think I suspect him to be like a proper sociopath, but honestly, that's a vibes-based diagnosis. But anyways, but today I think I'm going to argue for also the kind of level of cynicism that I heard Counterpoints and Ron express here. I thought I had an original take, but apparently I'm not as original as I thought I would be.
That's okay. We have different people for different reasons, and thank you for being here. And yeah, I guess we'll just get into it. Like, I guess I'll start with you, Lactoid, right? I understand what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying. But what is the difference between sycophants of Destiny and sycophants of Trump covering up Trump's bad actions? Why is it okay for sycophants of Trump to still support him when he's done all the things that he's been accused of doing? But you have no sympathy for those in Destiny's orbit who do the same?
No. So if you're dealing with somebody, and I think this is the big distinction between this situation and for Trump. I think that there's two types of like MAGA people, or maybe not even MAGA people, but supporters of Donald Trump and their position, I guess, towards Trump's alleged sexual abuse. There's people who think it's true, but are just like, fuck, like, that Biden does it too, like XYZ does it too. I have to vote for the person because I'm a policy bug, right? I'm like really interested in policy, and this is like a really important thing to me. And then you have another group of people that just don't believe it to be true, and they really love Trump. Like they just obsessed about him, and they have this kind of parasocial connection, perhaps very similar to that people might have to streamers. But in this situation, I mean, this person is not a politician. This person isn't pushing any particular policy. This person is running a parasocial relationship platform. That's the point, right? The point is to build a parasocial relationship with his audience. And so the question is it okay to build a parasocial relationship with somebody if you think that if you think that what they did was wrong? Or maybe not just that, but are you allowed to criticize the thing that you think that they did was bad if you have a parasocial relationship with them? And Destiny hasn't even denied the allegations, and you still have people sweeping for him, not for policy reasons, but just because they're obsessed with the guy. That's the difference. Now, I'm not even necessarily defending people who sweep for the bad things that Trump does. I thought that especially Destiny's community was opposed to that. So is the argument here that, well, it's warfare, we have to be hypocritical? Is that the argument?
No.
No.
Yeah, so you go first.
Are we
Well,
going
okay.
in order?
I'll let Roan go, then we'll hear counterpoints, and we'll hear.
No. The argument is that like your degree of like candidate is accused and found like and litigated through like way worse shit than Destiny is. So like for you to hold this double standard is insane. Like
I don't hold a double standard.
It is a double standard.
What am I doing that would demonstrate that I'm holding a double standard?
Did you vote for Trump?
Yeah, look, if Destiny had my policy positions and he did 20 times worse, I might consider voting for him because I'm a massive policy bug. Do you think that I'm going to have like this deep social, parasocial relationship with Donald Trump if I actually think that he raped Carol? No.
That's effectively the argument right there.
The idea, okay, just to be clear, I think that I'm skeptical of the fact that he actually did commit that crime, and we can go into the details. We can go into the details about that.
I don't want to.
If I believe that he did it, I'm not going to like him parasocially. I'm not going to consider him to be a friend. I'm not going to want to be close to him.
Yeah. I agree with that idea. I don't think that's at least not why I'm watching Destiny. I am watching Destiny, even though I think he's actually like legitimately evil underneath. I was thinking that for about 2 years now, and I'm still watching him. It's not because like I want to be morally uplifted by the guy, or I think he's like he's going to be.
You support his political project.
I think there's different sorts of moral high grounds. There's like some sort of personal moral high ground where you like where you don't hit your kids, and where you like are a pillar of the community and whatnot. And then there's like I think a political moral high ground that also exists. I think that's separate things, and I think you should distinguish them.
Some principles are more valuable than others, right? Like some principles are
a hierarchy of principles. Yeah, I think so.
No, yeah, I don't know. I think this is I look. I'll let you guys talk. I think this is like a little bit pathetic, and I think
wait,
that
hold
what's
on,
happening.
Lactoid, hold on. You can say whatever you want to point out, but at the same time, this is the same pragmatic logic that you almost exactly articulated. I don't think anybody here, including myself, basically said like, oh yeah, we're gonna be like, hey, you know, leaking people's nudes is awesome, and audio recording your sex acts and then leaking them without consent is great. Nobody's gonna say that shit, and they're actually
or even deny the allegations.
Yeah, and probably
even-
most
Wait,
people.
do you think the motivation here from a lot of like the followers is a genuine belief that at this point Destiny's a good horse to back politically, or is it a parasocial relationship that they've developed with the guy with the
I think
latter.
it's. I would like to answer.
Of course.
I would like to answer. I think it's literally an 80-20 split. I think that 80% of them are going to make pragmatic arguments like, oh, I just like his rhetoric, or I just think he's entertaining, or I like his debates, or I like the way he thinks about things, but I hate all his personal shit. That's going to be 80% of people. And then I think 20% of people are, like you said, where they're literally parasocially in love with the guy. And so no matter what he does, they'll be like, oh yeah, actually turns out everything he did was awesome. Like,
kind of like Trump.
I actually am more with Lactose TV right here. I think it's the opposite around. I would say it's like more like 30% of people would make the same noises that I would make, and I think 70% of people are just like attached. Like,
I would. I think that it's absolutely flipped.
It's my intuition.
Most of this is motivated by like a parasocial relationship, as is the case often with like large streamers. I don't think a lot of the audience is truly
to the point that they will make
brain.
apologia for like sex offenses.
Of course, that's my criticism. Yes.
So then I would literally, I would take this psychological dynamic and I would apply it almost to any public figure who does bad things. And I also think that it is particularly striking that we have this every single day on social media with Trump. Trump said the most retarded fucking thing I have ever seen a public elected official say out loud today. And I have people in my replies who are like, actually, this is secretly based. And it's a fuckload of people. Now, maybe you don't like my ratios. Let's call it 50-50. 50% of people are willing to separate the political and the personal, and they're willing to call somebody a piece of shit, even if they're going along with the policies. And 50% of them are true sycophant, psychopath fucking weirdos. But if we split it 50-50, this psychological dynamic applies to almost every public figure.
I hold on. I don't necessarily disagree with that. As to the principle, I could disagree on the ratios depending on the person. Look, there's people who sweep for O.J. Simpson, and I lost my temper at them on public streams, in a very similar way. Because,
I hope that's an 80-20, like actually what he did or didn't do was based.
At the time, it wasn't quite, the ratios were a little bit different. As time goes on, the ratios are starting to get a little bit better on that particular case. But if you've run across anybody who's like making motivated apologies because they have a parasocial relationship with a celebrity and they're worshiping this celebrity parasocially, and they're obsessed with this person, like an ultra MAGA guy who's like cannot criticize Trump for anything that they do. I think it's perfectly fine to criticize them. I think it's perfectly fine to call them a hack, which, by the way, you guys have been doing to a lot of MAGA supporters who are hacks for a very long time now. And again, maybe this mentality, like I asked before, is this just war? You can just be hypocritical now? Is that the idea? Like, oh, these people are doing terrible. These people over here are doing terrible behavior. So I guess we get to do terrible behavior now too. Fuck you.
What is the hypocrisy? Because I actually think we can go back to the election and point out where it's not necessarily hypocritical. What is the hypocritical action that you are accusing people of?
The hypocritical action that I'm accusing people of is I think there's a large demographic, especially Destiny supporters, who are looking at Trump and saying they're like, how could anybody support this guy? Because look how horrible he is personally. I think you have said similar things in the past, Connor. He's a horrible person. He's terrible. The idea that anybody could support somebody who's done these awful things is just mind-blowing. People who do these terrible things, there's no excuse for that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then their guy does a terrible thing. Wow,
What their guy? Like where we
Destiny, yes. Specifically, he does a terrible thing. Yes.
Right.
So we all agree he did a terrible thing.
Let me jump in here. Let me jump in here and ask counterpoints and Roan and the rest of you, right? Here's the deal, right? Like why are we so critical of Trump? But what is the specific difference between you, Roan, defending Destiny, and a Trump supporter defending Trump?
Whoa.
Okay.
I'm not.
I think there's
I'm
like
Not defending
there's a
Destiny or
gaping
his actions,
chasm
but saying,
between the two things.
I think it's fine to just kind of overlook this for now.
Because Republicans have established the legitimacy of that strategy. You see the open hypocrisy that they did when they stole a Supreme Court justice. And hey, they were right to do so. They were actually like serving their constituents by like stealing a Supreme Court justice. They were doing the right thing, because at the end of the day,
they weren't. You're wrong on every level of this.
They absolutely were. They're not there to be nice. They're not there to be polite. They're there to ensure power for their constituents. And that's at the end of the day, like
I criticized that action by Mitch McConnell when it happened.
That's
because
right.
because I'm not a hack. Okay, a hack is somebody who has this fucking mentality of like whataboutism whenever they get confronted with anything. A whataboutism to what about that guy? What about that guy? And they're never able to sit down and have a conversation about this is pretty fucking bad. And yes, I mean I had a debate with Destiny on this very subject of like the Supreme Court packing. It was on Wix. And I mean, for a quarter of the debate, I was saying what the Republicans did there was bad. I'm not making excuses for it.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's actually a good thing.
No, but I'm saying it is bad.
Hold on.
I'm saying it is bad because I've got principles here.
Yeah. So hold on.
And yet you still voted for Donald Trump. So what are you talking about here? Like
shinier two turds doesn't mean you can't focus on the fact that one's a shiny fucking turd.
Okay, let's give it to Sint a little bit, and then let's go to counterpoints. Sint, what do you got?
Two short things. I'm very glad that I looked you up, Lactoid, before I came here. I was ready to like hate your guts, but actually, when I scrolled down on your Twitter page, I actually thought there's this really cool principled backbone there. So I'm
thank you.
I'm happy that I did
jerk him off later. Just let's get
you can link his nudes later.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm not going to release a video on that.
There's a giant chasm. There's a giant chasm between letting some things go and total moral bankruptcy. I think it is okay to like give up a little bit of the moral background. Go 2 steps down. It is fine. We're still way up there. That's my point. There you go.
Well, okay. So yeah. So Lactoid, I'm probably more towards your camp. However, I think we just need to acknowledge the dynamic. Okay, you're kind of saying like nobody's acknowledging this, nobody's calling them out, nobody's doing this, nobody's doing that. But if you actually look at maybe not the tone, because I am getting called out for tone all the time because I'm being rude and I'm making jokes and all that kind of shit. But the actual content of what people saying is this is fucked up. It's inexcusable. Not only did he fuck over the people that were closest to him, but also he's damaged his effectively all of his political projects. He's hurt all of his peers and his orbiters. And as a result, not only did he fuck up, he hurt a shitload of people. Those are the people who are closest to him saying that. And then the people, as you move outside of the orbiter sphere, they get actually more and more critical. Now, I agree with you that there are sycophants who are saying like, oh, you did nothing wrong, whatever. But I would almost say that I don't want to put proportions on it anyways. Those people fucking suck and they suck ass. However, I think that what you said, though, with your voting for Trump, is that there is a pragmatic calculation here for what you think can happen with a person. And so if you're willing to acknowledge that principle, then just through that example, you kind of already know what the fuck we're talking about, which is basically like leaking nudes. I'm just going to be real here and people can fucking hate me if they want. Leaking nudes, even non-consensual audio recordings in 6 months, that's going to be shortened down to leaking nudes. And he's probably going to be back in Twitch and YouTube poll like it's fucking nothing. Now, he probably lost all his mainstream shit, but that's what it's going to boil down to. People are going to move on.
Good, Connor. I already said I don't think there's going to be like substantive consequences for this. In my intro. But are you saying that the audio shit is bunk?
I'm not saying it's bunk. No.
Okay. So if it turns out to be real, like this is like,
I'm still holding my breath to find out if there's worse shit. So
sure. And there could be worse shit. We're finding out shit every day. like more and more shit has come out. Yes, there has been more shit that people are saying on Twitter.
I'm
Are they
shaking my head
allegations?
because I saw the January 9th text message.
The
being
January
like,
9th one
hey,
after
do you
the
want
leaks? Yeah.
but I'm all right. I'm going to give him a little bit of shit, but I'm on Vyvanse now. I don't goon anymore, guys. And it's like,
Yes, we
Okay.
literally have this.
we
shit
kind of knew that
happening.
was bullshit before we
Yeah,
saw
assuming this
the
is
leaks,
accurate,
but
which
now we
apparently
saw
it
the
is.
leaks.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
I do have.
Wick, I sent it like January 9th
I saw
after the
those
leaks.
I got you. I got you.
How could you expect he's going to change?
I don't.
We'll get to it. Easy Tiger. I'm sorry, buddy.
Yes.
It's hard to hear you. Your mic's not working.
Next time.
We might have to replace you, buddy. Okay.
All right, sure.
I'm sorry. I really apologize. We'll try it again on a smaller panel. Cool.
Cool.
Okay. With
Okay.
that, we do have a little bit of a replacement though.
Okay. So hold on real quick. And I think that this is like a legitimate perspective to take because I think you're right. So he was like, oh, 2022 was a crazy year. I was doing it through 2023. What I would expect to see is somebody being contrite and actually like, kind of showing remorse and then making up for it and all that kind of stuff. I don't think he's psychologically capable of it, right? So when I saw him making jokes in those fucking DMs over the past like week or two, I was like, this motherfucker hasn't changed at all, has he? And then the January 9th fucking gooning links that just came out today, by the way, it's like, okay, he actually hasn't changed and he hasn't made any efforts to change. So I think at this point, it stands to reason that pretty much everybody has to expect to be effectively playing with a scorpion. Now, there's a chance you're going to get fucking stung. It just is what it is.
Right. And I want to like, so for me, I'm saying that like, if the political stakes are like in the case of the election high enough, somebody who maybe I even though I don't believe all of the allegations against Donald Trump, I think that there is sufficient evidence of him being a dick and him being bad and XYZ. Yeah. And being bad.
I think there's sufficient evidence he used his dick.
And him being, I don't think so. I mean, unless you're talking about Stormy Daniels.
Sure
Stormy Daniels, sure. But
not even
there's no. We can talk about that.
Okay. All right.
I actually don't want to get sidelined on the details, so we can focus on the principle.
Wait. Let me just finish the thought because I don't want to get sidelined either.
Finish this thought, but then I want to recenter us. Okay.
Thank you. So for me, it's like, okay, if we're talking about a presidential election where policy is incredibly important, and we're talking about a comparison between one person's policy agenda and another person's policy agenda, for me, that's like a major weighting factor. I understand that logic. But there's two problems here. The first problem is Destiny's not running for president. He's not a politician. He's not like in charge of policy decisions. You don't choose to engage with him because, hey, I have to, otherwise the other side is going to introduce XYZ policy agenda. That's going to be awful. He's basically a politically toxic at this point, given the allegations. You're not going to gain anything by working with him anyway. And then the other thing is, and I guess this is for you, Connor, a little bit, for somebody who does care so much about who the person is, maybe more so than the policy, because of your criticisms of Trump and how that was a major influence in your decision not to vote for him. Why doesn't your logic here apply? Where even if Destiny is politically effective or whatever, doesn't at that point his shitty behavior for you, since you hate shitty behavior so much, isn't that enough to criticize him? Maybe more strongly.
I mean, we're gonna have to get into what more strongly means, just because I swear to God, it's like I'll say he's a socially, sexually retarded person with a gap in his soul from the abuse he suffered as a fucking child, and he's trying to fill his god hole with pussy, and like nobody hears that shit. They're like, oh, you're making excuses for him because you're making it funny. And so it's like, well, okay, maybe it's funny, but also like that's a pretty serious thing. Like if you actually have like real trauma and abuse that forces you to be constantly addicted to sex and relationships, and 20 or 30 years later, you're still trying to fill that hole, that's fucking bad, man. It's bad on like 10,000 different levels.
I want to recenter this just a little, right? Because I understand that Destiny is kind of like the focal point here, and his lens a lot of, I mean, he's
can I
this space.
But
well, I'll let you go next, right? I promise, right? But
there's also an idea here too. So Twitch and YouTube poll is hundreds of thousands of people, and it's millions of dollars every year. That money could be, I'm not saying it is right now, it could be harnessed for good. So pretending that like this is just like a completely ineffectual space that has no impact in the real world, I don't think that's true. And I think as time goes on, it's actually going to become a more and more effective space for achieving real world stuff.
Well, not if this keeps happening. I think that's kind of my point.
Which it's going to keep happening.
Well, I think this is the learning curve.
I mean,
I think this is the learning curve.
Isn't working if we're all accepting that people on Destiny's side are just going to say, well, he's politically useful, so I'm not going to give a fuck about his sexual malfeasance, and he's going to be streaming like normal in 3 months. It will never be a mainstream space if that's the case.
Wait, hold
Never.
on. Do we not think that fucking well, number one, I think mainstream people are probably, there's plenty of examples of sociopaths dominating mainstream politics and then having horrible sex and drug
Literally Donald
scandals.
Trump.
Yeah, literally Donald Trump. And then number two,
Sure, yeah. How many people
hold
have
on.
tried to federally indict Destiny, if we're going to compare him and Donald Trump? Donald Trump
hold on.
has the
I mean,
world
why are
criminally
why-
and civilly, but Destiny.
Why
we're
is that the
saying it's
standard?
okay if people are just
Yeah,
mean
wait.
to him for a
why is that
couple
the
weeks?
standard?
Because you guys are choosing to compare it to Donald Trump.
But
You're
because
saying
he did
we're
worse
talking-
shit,
Donald
and he's
Trump
in
is
a more
Donald
So,
Trump
hold on.
is a great
Yeah,
hold
he's
on,
in
Donald
more of
Trump
a
is
mainstream
great example.
position.
Hold on,
Comparison
let me
for
finish-
that.
Okay, hold on, Wayne. One second, one at a time. No one can hear when you're all shouting at each other.
Let
when
me
you're all
finish the
arguing.
position,
Once
right?
he's gone, once you're finished, Jeb10, once you're
Yeah.
finished, we'll let Roan respond. Roan wants to get in here too.
Yeah,
And then
sure.
I see you sent. So go ahead,
So-
finish.
Again, you guys have such circular logic here. Because this space may end up being a politically effectual space, we should protect Destiny in the case that he's politically effectual enough
Nobody
to
said that.
overcome the
Protecting Destiny.
malfeasance that he's done. There's no reason to bring up that this space might be effectual in this context
agree.
unless you're saying that, by the way. So otherwise, you're either making an irrelevant point or you're making the point I'm saying. So cool, I'll go with either. But
That's
then the
ridiculous.
constant comparisons to Donald Trump, you're saying the equivalent behavior to accepting Destiny, who can be replaced by any number of liberal content creators, whose
No.
barrier for entry,
Hard
the
to
barrier
disagree.
for entry. Stop. Hold on. You'll see when I'm making the comparison.
And
The barrier
no, we
for
see your
entry
point.
to
It's not
becoming
good.
a streamer is getting a fucking computer and a webcam. You're saying going against him and choosing a different liberal content creator of equal or greater size to support is equal to not voting for the one option you have that is close to your ideals in the presidency, and you will not get to make that choice again for another 4 years. Saying those two choices
This is the
somehow
most
equal,
ridiculous thing I've
and
ever
if
heard.
you make one, you should make the other the
Okay.
same exact way is
Okay.
absurd.
Roan, go
this is
ahead.
absurd.
You can respond. Go
Why
ahead.
is it
Um,
absurd?
It's absurd on its face. But first off,
No, no,
uh,
how?
Well, give him a chance to say, right?
No, he just
Go
said
ahead,
it's absurd
Roan.
on its face. He should
Sure.
be able to
Roan-
not shuffle
Let
his
you-
folders and
again,
read his notes.
let
Just
him-
say
let
it's
him-
absurd
I have a
because
direct
it is.
response when he's
Let
done.
him go.
Sure.
Roan, we're going to give the mic to Roan for now. Roan wants to respond. Give Roan a chance. Roan, and then we can let others.
I want to go back to something Lactoid was saying. Lactoid, you were saying that the president, because it's like of a higher political position, that means that his like moral failings are more acceptable. That's not true. But the fact that he's in a more powerful position, you know, the head of the fucking country, means that his moral character is of a much, much more serious degree. Than
Did you
than a
vote for him?
fucking-
Did you not vote for him because of his moral character?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Okay, so moral character is very important to you.
I mean, like when running against Kamala Harris, yes. Like is Destiny running against somebody? Like why? Like you know, there's, like, a direct
That's my
comparison.
argument. My argument is that fuck, we have a two-party system. I voted Libertarian the past 2 times. Like I don't like this guy, but fuck, right? What Jebtan is saying is, holy shit, like this isn't that. This is
Destiny
a
is
streamer,
more-
one streamer out of like thousands.
I have a direct
And
response.
he's not a politician. And the whole purpose of it is it's a parasocial relationship. Are we going to deny this?
Yeah.
Are we going to say
Real-
that like that's not the major thrust of the stream?
Real
on.
quick. I just want you to acknowledge real quick that the position of president is more important than some random streamer. Will you?
Hold
acknowledge
on. That's not my point, and
Yes,
I can
that's why the
address it
policies-
directly.
That's why the
That's our
policy
point.
is
Hold
more
on.
important. Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay,
I
okay,
want
go
to
ahead.
address it
Final
directly.
point.
So here's the thing. I think that temperamentally, the people who are most likely to rise to the top of either mainstream media or alternative media are likely to be some kind of like narcissistic sociopaths. I just think that statistically it's going to be borne out. And I do have anecdotes for you that I think will be demonstrative. So the 3 most popular people who are on left-wing alternative media right now are Hassan Piker, Vosh, and Destiny. I could literally go through it, but Hassan Piker is a rape apologist, allegedly had sex with a 17-year-old. Vosh is a lolicon. on. Destiny has his dramas that have come up, right? And then if we go on the right-hand side too, this isn't something that's unique to the left. Elijah Schaffer is a sex pest and a fucking Nazi. Literally go check that fucking guy's Twitter. It's nothing but fucking
Tim Pool
race
took
war
Russian
posting.
money, like
Tim Pool took fucking Russian money. Tommy Robinson, who I think has some good points sometimes, is a fucking alcoholic who likes to get wasted, walk into Muslim no-go zones and fist fight fucking Muslims. That's his idea of a good time. Paul Joseph Watson is a fucking coke addict who fucking bangs prostitutes. Dude, like you're telling me that we can replace these characters with anybody, but it's not true. If we replace Destiny, let's say that we find some fucking liberal character who's just as charismatic, just as talented, just as intelligent, et cetera, et cetera. I almost guarantee you that we're going to be finding some level of fucking skeletons in the closet. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't try. I wish Josiah pondering politics was the new fucking Destiny, right? But he doesn't have the same personality.
Well, they also are just not very smart. But the thing that you just brought up is the
How
perfect
dare
example
you
of how
dog my boy
morally-
Josiah? Fuck
Yeah,
you.
look,
Josiah is
sorry,
not
I'm
on
sorry.
trial here. Okay,
This is the example. This is the example of
Josiah's
why
my buddy,
Lactoid-
so let's
Yeah, this
go
is
ahead.
the example. I mean, I'm not saying he's like an evil person. I just don't think he's as smart as Destiny. But this is the point of me and Lactoid being perfectly morally consistent here. How many Elijah Schaffer posts do you see me and Lactoid retweet? How many times have you seen us support fucking Tim Pool? Basically,
Well,
none,
but I think if
ever.
you check Ron and my Twitter, you're not going to find
It's not an issue right now.
You're not going to find either one of us being like, you know, lol, sexual harassment good. Like that didn't
He
happen.
literally said it's a. Who's this guy? Roan?
Roan.
Yeah.
Literally said that it should be part of our political strategy to go medium and support Destiny despite this. That was his point when he came into this panel. That was your point. That was exactly.
Hold on. This you do recognize it. You do wait. You do recognize this is the Republican strategy, right? Like this is what they do. Except they don't go medium; they go low.
Here's the issue: you're not part of the fucking DNC. You're nothing.
I'm a rhino.
You're nothing.
I'm a rhino. Like, what do you want from me?
Yeah, but use your nothing proportionate to the power that you have.
What the fuck are you talking about? I have no idea. What is your point?
If you stop interrupting, which again, by the way, my other point that you said was absurd on its face, you still couldn't respond to. So maybe you should take time to listen. Hold on. Because you're not listening to them, which is why you're incapable of responding.
Well, then say something that's worth listening to.
Yeah, listen and engage. Nothing.
I feel like I addressed it.
If you need to use your power proportionate to the power that you have, your power in terms of choosing the nominee for the presidency, my power for choosing the nominee for the presidency is limited to a primary vote. That's it. When it comes to growing creators in this space, community members are the only ones that have that power. It's the only power you have is what community member or what streamers you support.
Republicans could have nominated Nikki Haley. Republicans could have nominated Nikki Haley.
Republicans could have. I couldn't have. So I can only just not support people who aren't worth supporting and support people who are worth supporting. Your argument is because the DNC should be willing to use politicians that may behave in slightly less bad ways than Donald Trump. You're saying I'm going to support
how do you feel
sexual abuse of women.
How do you feel about Al Franken?
For his content creation.
How do you feel about Al Franken?
I don't like any of.
Do you think the Democrats were right in removing someone over one of the most milk toast?
Hold on.
Al Franken?
Al Franken?
No, I don't like any cancel culture.
Even the people.
Like that,
okay,
but that was like
this is not the same thing. What Al Franken did, at least to my knowledge, he was never accused of leaking nudes.
No.
And yet he was removed from office nonetheless.
And that was a mistake.
Yeah. Yes.
Like,
it's not equivalent to this.
Where's the
just to be clear, it's not the same, and I agree. Like that was pretty ridiculous, right? I'm not saying you're saying it's the same. I'm agreeing with you that it's not the same. It's not the same. I agree. We can obviously evaluate the severity of different actions when it comes to how we want to feel about them. If a politician jaywalked one time, no. All right, I'm not gonna call somebody sweeping for say it's fucking jaywalking. Who gives a fuck? Yeah. I agree, but we just had a list of a bunch of different creators do stuff, some of which I think is not nearly comparable to this in kind of a similar way. Tim Pool unwittingly took Russian money,
millions of dollars
unwittingly. He didn't know. No, that's not what all of that happened.
Yeah, sure he did.
What are you talking about? You got to be careful because like what you just said is like dangerous, right? Yeah. Because there's zero evidence of that. Yes, in terms of getting sued, Connor. Like you just said, he knowingly took it and then to lie.
Okay, I think.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
I'll go. Tim Pool can fucking sell.
Wait. I wasn't done my point yet. Okay, everyone's jumping in.
Okay. Counsel.
I wasn't done my point.
Yeah, let's.
From all the evidence we have. Okay, Tim Pool unwittingly took Russian money. He denied knowing that it was Russian. He denied that it had any influence on his politics. That's what he said.
Did he say anything else?
Now
would he say like, yeah, I took Russian money.
If Destiny said,
let him go. So
Jesus
we
Christ,
can go. I'll let you respond.
If Destiny denied everything, and someone was like, you know what, I don't really believe XYZ happened because he's denying it. He's being credible. He's being consistent. You would have more of a case, but that's not what's happening. Like he hasn't denied any of the allegations. His behavior since the allegation speaks for itself, right? And like this is being compared to shit like unwittingly taking Russian money, doing fucking prostitutes and doing cocaine, which I don't think is necessarily wrong, right? If you want to do cocaine and fuck prostitutes, be my guest, have fun. And then this is what you people will do, okay? You bring up people like Bosch and Hassan, as comparisons here, pretending like you guys haven't been eviscerating these people going back months for their inappropriate behavior.
Yep.
It's not like this. This is why I'm calling it hypocrisy, right? If you guys were saying, oh well, yeah, people like Hassan because they find him politically effective. We can't, blah 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 blah. No. That's not what's happening. You guys were saying that oh he was fucking prostitutes and a prostitute thing that got raided. He's like a fucking degenerate. He's a creep.
But you know full well his audience would make an appeal to political pragmatism. We've almost all of us.
Would you criticize them for that? And they did. Did you criticize them for that?
No.
I would at least understand it.
That's wrong. The entire DGG community.
Why is that wrong?
The entire DGG community came together to shit on Hassan constantly in his community for.
They also came together to shit on
video
fucking
about
Destiny.
Like the whole first part was shitting on Hassan.
Counterpoints.
Wait,
go
which
ahead.
one?
Respond to that. We're gonna have to let counterpoints respond to that.
Yeah, you can respond. I'm talking about the recent one where you were accused of subtly sweeping.
I don't remember Hassan being
with the one with Brianna Wu, where Queeman and Lav came on afterwards and criticized you for spending a considerable amount of the first part shitting on Hassan, shitting on Vosh, and it took you how long to finally get to Destiny on the stream that was supposed to be talking about Destiny? That's the argument.
Well, yeah, but this is also where I feel like people haven't watched the stream because the first. And also here's a dynamic that nobody's really acknowledging, but it's just true. Okay. So first 20 minutes is Destiny bad. Last 20 minutes is Destiny bad. And then in the middle, which is probably 45 minutes or an hour to be honest, is, hey, I think Mr. Girl's a fucking piece of shit for this reason. I think that President Sunday is a piece of shit for this reason. And we spend 20 minutes on it. But the reason why that it's 50-50 instead of 80-20 is because there's no argument to be had between Brianna and myself about whether or not Destiny's behavior was bad. There's no one in the conversation. Hold on. There's no one in the conversation who was like, oh yeah, actually secretly what he did was good if you think about it. Nobody said that shit.
About Mr. Girl?
Yeah,
were we disagreeing about Mr. Girl?
Mr. Girl or Lav either.
I think we shared each other's passions with our criticisms of the man. But for instance, but as an example, I still hold this. And I don't think anybody can actually come up with a reason why I'm wrong in saying this. We are here in the Western world in air conditioning with food in our bellies, arguing about the sex life of some fucking retard on the internet, right? Ukrainian Anna is in Eastern Ukraine where she walks out where mortars and fucking rockets rain down and kill her fucking neighbors. She's filming the fucking dead bodies of her neighbors and she's fucking taking cover in the hallway. Okay. So if you want to attack Destiny orbiters, have fun all fucking day. Leave the Eastern Ukrainian person who's watching her neighbors get slaughtered the fuck alone. Do you have a beef with my criticism of Mr. Girl in that regard?
I don't think anybody here has brought up Ukrainian Anna.
I have. That was my criticism of Mr. Girl. Do you have an issue with my criticism of Mr. Girl going after Ukrainian Anna? Do you think I'm wrong?
I don't. I think, okay. It's a different
Well,
topic.
that pisses... Hold on. No. It's the same topic. It's the same topic. I'll give you a 10-second thing, then you can respond. Here's my thing. We are privileged talking about another man's fucking sex life. that we need to scale the sins that we're talking about here, where murder is 1 billion times worse than fucking leaking nudes.
I've got
Okay,
something after.
respond.
I've got
think
something
I'm-
after
Okay.
And that-
I agree that murder is very much worse. Like probably
Good.
by 1 billion than leaking nudes, no doubt. Okay, but just because you're in a war zone doesn't mean that you're now immune from criticism. Is that how that works?
You should probably scale your criticism based off of the sins committed, I would say.
I think he kinda
I-
did.
the
I think
sins
this is
committed-
just about this.
The sins
I mean,
committed were being
if the
friendly with
criticism is-
Destiny
if the
after the Destiny report.
I don't want to have to be on Twitter like arguing with somebody who says something dumb and they're like, "Oh, I'm in a war zone. You can't fucking come out. Don't come after me, motherfucker. You said the dumb shit. Are you not an adult? Can I not criticize? I
I've got
understand.
something else,
Like
too.
this is exactly the kind of shit that like the ultra like, oh, like you're so privileged being a white person, you can't speak on black issues. What are you talking about?
No,
You made the dumb
no,
point. I can speak
no.
to that.
Let me see if I
Connor,
can
you're
talk
saying
about
that
it.
because you're a white person. You don't know what
Let
it's
me.
like being
Well,
black.
I am
Can I
white,
make
so you
one-
should listen to me.
It's like you're
So,
living
hold
in a
on.
war zone with the police and everything.
Okay, hold on. No, I need to explain this because I need people who have
Explain it,
like
and Jeff Kent has
brains
go and
to
gotta
understand
recenter this
it.
conversation.
Okay,
because
okay.
we are
So-
off.
So there are, let's say 12 to 24 Destiny orbiters who, in the wake of the Mr. Girl report, minimize the Mr. Girl report. I'm saying
Wasn't me.
that let's say it's 12. Okay, there are 11 people that I don't give a fuck if Mr. Girl attacks. He can attack him all fucking day. I don't give a shit. The one person that he's fucking attacking that I think is out of fucking line is somebody who's trying to use DGG as a fundraiser campaign so her neighbors don't get fucking murdered. I think you can give that person a pass.
Yeah.
I think
So
that-
here's.
Sorry.
I mean, we still have to have our Ukraine debate, Connor. So
Yeah, I think
We'll
I have
get-
a
That's coming up
direct
next.
response to
That's
the
another
Anna
debate.
thing, and
Go
then
ahead.
something that I noticed that I think is where you guys you're fucking me, Connor, because I love you and I hate Mr. Girl, but you're forcing me to agree with Mr. Girl on this.
Gross.
Is like with the Ukrainian Anna thing, I don't think you give people a pass because they're in a war zone. I think Lactoid phrased that pretty well. And I think if he said you're a disgusting, rotten person to your core, and I don't like you, but all this, I would have a problem with it. But I just reread his statement on Anna. It was 100% focused on specifically her rhetoric regarding Destiny and his sexual malfeasance. And I think as long as you compartmentalize your criticism to the thing you're criticizing, I don't think you're out of line. But to the thing that frustrated me and the thing that I think Mr. Girl and Lav, that stream that you did, were so frustrated with, and they've been frustrated with, and I agree with them on, is you kind of, it's all this language when you're talking about him is so nerfed compared to your language about people criticizing him. Even just now, you said, we're privileged to sit here and worry about Destiny's sex life. You didn't say we're here privileged sitting and worrying about the victimization of women and nudes shared that troubled someone so deeply that they were on the edge of killing themselves.
Okay.
Why did we nerf the subject so hard?
Because-
to Destiny's sex life. We're not talking about Destiny's sex life. We're talking about Pixie's right to privacy of her own naked body.
Okay,
I just
I've
wanna
been
be
hold
clear.
on.
Nobody is
I
saying
think
she doesn't have that. You fucking-
Stop. We
This
are-
is an
I know,
important
why
question.
are
I should
we
be talking
nerfing
about
the
the
language?
victims.
Why are you
I
bringing
just
it up?
don't want. I don't want to talk about the victims, frankly.
Sure, no,
I
yeah,
wanna-
yeah.
I don't want to name victims, stuff like
Yeah,
that, or litigate the victims, what they'd happen. We're talking about, again, and I want to reiterate the subject, right? To what extent can we excuse bad actors in politics? And look, there's far more bad actors in this life than Destiny, right? There's people like RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Trump. If you want to look on the Democrat side of things, you can find some too, I'm sure, right? But like again, that's
Wait,
that's
Tulsi's
the
fine.
difference.
No, it's
Well,
not.
okay.
No, people
Okay.
have vague notions that
Hold
she's
on.
an Assad plant, Lactoid.
Okay,
so she's
number-
I'm
definitely a
giving
bad
you
person.
examples
Yeah,
to
big
again center. the
I can
conversation.
keep this
Bad
away
example.
from victims. So number one, I think part of this. What? Well, hold on.
No, go
Number
ahead.
one, I think part of
Specifically
this
in
is
reference-
subconscious. I think part of it is legitimately subconscious. With people you don't like, you're going to have more hyperbolic rhetoric. With people that you like, you're going to couch your language, even if it's conscious or a subconscious process, right?
Sure.
Now, that being said, it also kind of comes with like the aims of where you hope things will be. Okay, so I want people to notice the fucked up actions of some of the critics. Some of their criticism is perfectly valid. Okay, some of their criticisms is fucking insane, and I want people to notice the fucking insane criticism because I want us to land somewhere approximating truth.
Okay. Specifically in reference to like supporting political figures with bad character, the right is so far in the red that the Democrats are incapable of being there. Like it's not even close in terms of how terrifying an existential threat that Donald Trump is to this country. The very fact that like you can support like a rapist and Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, but I can't support some like random sex pest on the internet is the height of
Epstein's best friend.
Yes,
You understand that like the rhetoric, like you have to understand like what you're saying. You're
Are you denying
essentially
the audio recording?
You're essentially there's no limit to this.
Are you denying the audio recording?
I don't know what audio recording you're talking about.
The audio recording where Jeffrey said he was like, "Oh, I was Donald Trump's best friend."
Yeah, from what I understand, Donald Trump denies being Epstein's best friend. I haven't seen sufficient evidence.
Of course, he would. Like he wouldn't say he was.
Now, the logic and this is I think the most toxic part of like the whataboutism logic, right? This is the reason the Soviet propaganda machine perfected this back during the Cold War, and they utilized it every step they could. Is because it is because you can do just about everything. What could he do that you couldn't just be saying the exact same thing? Yeah, he murdered somebody, but hold on, but how can we really get on his case? Donald Trump has murdered. His actions have led to the deaths of how XYZ amount of illegal immigrants. Like, how can we really talk about the fact that like he abducted 18 children potentially when there's a war happening in Ukraine? Like how can we? There's always something worse that you can deflect to.
Let me be clear.
Be clear.
Okay. If any other person was president right now, like if Mitt Romney was president, Nikki Haley was president, or if Kamala Harris is president, I would be abandoning Destiny's political project.
What about Biden? He had rape allegations against him, didn't he?
Come on. Like, are you
kidding me? Wait, what do you mean? Come on? Did he not have rape allegations against him?
By the way, until she became his.
They weren't like civilly litigated and found guilty.
Were there allegations? Was Epstein being Trump's best friend civilly litigated? You seem to believe that he was.
I mean,
there was rape allegations.
Like Jeffrey Epstein being on audio recording saying,
there was rape. There's a woman who's accusing Biden of rape.
I think there's a thought experiment that captured
Hold on. He hasn't gotten a chance for
civilly litigated and found guilty. It's just a completely different standard of evidence.
Okay, got you. Sinte, go ahead.
Thank you. I think there's a thought experiment that captured my sense of cynicism quite well. Is like if I could stop Donald Trump, his ambitions with fucking Greenland or whatever. I mean anything by leaking somebody's nudes, I would do it.
Right.
By leaking the nudes myself.
Kill someone to stop him.
Are you in Denmark or Greenland?
Hold on, now stop.
No.
Please. I want to interrogate this. Sint. Okay, but would you kill someone to stop Donald Trump?
I think so. Yeah. I think the
child in a video game.
In a video game, of course. In a video game, I think we should sacrifice some children on an altar on top of a pyramid with lightning in the background. No, honest. To ball. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, look, that's fine. I don't want to hear you guys ever complain about somebody's character again.
Wait, no.
You're supporting the worst character in this equation.
We're all supporting
no leg to stand up.
How are you going to criticize me for supporting a bad character when you are?
Hold on. We also need to articulate this.
So now I get.
Hold on. Lactoid.
We 1 to 10 example.
No, we need. You're
lying.
I can articulate this.
1 to 10 my way.
I can articulate this.
Counterpoints.
Yeah. So hold on. So I think there's a fundamental mistake here. You guys are. We talked about this earlier, separating the personal from the political, and then accepting that there's some level of political pragmatism that you have to have in order to achieve a goal. Okay. Now, the argument that I think I made back then, and somebody could check it or whatever, is that the personal is going to inform the political. Okay. So when it comes to Trump cheating on his businesses, lying about stuff in court, cheating on his wife, those are the most like trusted things that like anybody can be entrusted with within their life. And so as a result, I think that he's going to be a lying, retarded, cheapskate, scammer, whatever piece of shit. And today there are 80 people dead in the Potomac. And he was like, well, one of them was probably black or a woman. So it's probably that's the reason why. It's because of DEI. That's why there's 80 people dead.
Counterpoint.
That's
you nodded
criminal.
Just real quick. You nodded along, right? When this guy, Sinte, said that he would leak nudes to stop Trump. Would you do that? Would you leak someone's nudes?
Leak nudes to stop? Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
I'm deleting our Discord DMs. Connor,
I already saved all the porn. I already saved it. Everyone who has sent me porn
in Minecraft.
Everyone who has sent me porn, I've already saved it. You're fucked. So anyways, No, would I kill Donald Trump to stop Greenland? No, probably not. I think taking Greenland is based. Let's think about something that Donald
you
Trump
think
is.
NATO will survive that?
What's that?
You think NATO will survive that?
No,
purchased
we could buy it. Right. Anyways,
Yeah.
we could do it through soft power, not hard power.
I don't think that
Okay.
will happen. Okay.
All right. Anyways, so no, I wouldn't do it for Greenland. What's another, like? Obviously, he's like harassing fucking Mexicans or whatever. Let's say that they talked about the veterans and the Native Americans that were detained by ICE for being suspected of being Mexican, right? Let's say that we knew that a few hundred people were going to get legally detained and ultimately killed by law enforcement as a result of his thing. Yeah, I would literally do a cost-benefit analysis of American citizens getting killed, and then if there was like, I could press a button and one person I don't know dies, and then that saves the 300 people. Yeah, I'm hitting that button 100%.
Exactly.
What is?
It's a calculation.
Question. I understand. Like, it's a calculation, but like, what is kind of the question to you that I asked Ron? Is there any like limiting factor here? Like, I know you're saying that it's going to be like in comparison to, it's just like a weighted analysis, but like specifically, I mean, I really like what you said when you said like there's a subconscious thing here, and that's like very true. And I'm not holding that against you. I understand. Like, it can be difficult when you really hate somebody, like the rhetoric can just come out more hateful, like without even thinking about it, compared to if you have maybe like a pre-established relationship with somebody. That's all fine and dandy. But like, not only are in this case the allegations pretty bad, but like the reaction, like as I think you pointed out, Connor, like the reaction has been like absent of contrition. It's been absent of an apology, and in fact, it's been like the opposite. I've seen shit where it's like people who are like, "Oh, this is really bad," IP banned right from the chat, right? No Reddit post except for the one, even allowed to talk about it.
And then they blocked that one.
Well, I didn't know that. Apparently, they blocked that one too. Jeb is saying. And then we're going to ban it on Discord, like all sorts of shit where to me, this doesn't come across like it would seem to me that you're just setting yourself up for this shit to happen again.
Yeah.
And even if you even following along with this sort of like, well, we can excuse like bad behavior, et cetera, for like political gain.
No one's excusing it.
In this case, excusing it, I think for a lot of people. For a lot of people,
hold on.
excusing it. If you're just concerned about this, like, we have no evidence to suggest this is going to stop. I mean, you even brought up January 9th, Connor. I mean, that's pretty scary.
Sure. So this is something that
I really January 6th though.
I really think I'm strong. I think I'm strongest in essays, and I'm going to focus on essays. I'm still going to participate in Twitch and YouTube poll because I kind of parasocially love you guys and I like bumping heads, right? So, anyways, my project the whole time, however terribly I've done it, is I hope that by living my life the way that I live it, in saying the things that I say, that there are a series of young people who may see me on Destiny stream, who might see me on Vosh's stream, who might see me on Whick stream, who might see me with Brianna Wu or whatever, and they'll be like, you know what? I think he's fucking right. I actually think that I'm an atheist or an agnostic. I don't believe in God literally, but I think that Christianity actually has moral virtues that are worth studying and analyzing and incorporating into my life. I'm hoping that they see that I actually love my kids and love my wife, and they're like, holy shit, monogamy and marriage and having kids and being loyal to your wife is possible and it's good for you. And here's somebody who looks happy. And then same thing with like, I actually have a really boring life. I work a job 9 to 5, I pay my bills, and then I take the little bit of extra money I have and I invest it into my dreams. And that's a pain in the ass. But the truth is I get to build these cool little things. And so I want to give young people hope. So however, like terribly I've been doing it, for the past half decade, I have not been condoning Steven's lifestyle. If anything, I've been fucking criticizing the fuck out of it. And I've been hoping that a few people will notice what I'm doing and break from him and come to me. So I'm not condoning what he does. If anything, I want Steven to fucking listen to me.
And look, I've got no criticisms about, I've seen nothing to indicate that you aren't anything other than a wholesome family man. Seriously. I mean,
trying.
Well, you're trying, but I think that, I've got nothing.
My wife and I, we cuss at each other.
Bad. Yeah, I haven't seen anything bad. But like, I think one of the, and this is like is more relevant to the topic of the debate. Like, the concern is like, this is fresh off the press. This is the time for people to be mad, and I think people are hypersensitive when people appear to be sweeping for potentially like interpersonal reasons. And like I think a lot of like the political claim, especially now that we're after the election, like a lot of like the political claim is really just a smokescreen for an interpersonal desire to want to be like want this guy to continue. Like like his fan base has been around through massive political changes. It's not, and I think this goes back to something you said before. It's not his politics. He's a charismatic guy. Like, and that's why this isn't going to hurt him.
They're fans.
And they're fans. They like the guy. And the question is, like, if you really like a guy, like, and you begin to realize that, like, you are, you know, either supporting him or like not being harsh in the criticism of this, or being overly harsh towards other people as opposed to this person, like that's, and this is potentially coming from like an interpersonal reason. I feel like there's at least something to criticize there, right? I'm not saying the people who do it are like irredeemable.
I think the charisma is why.
Well, and you can, and as a matter of fact, I think every orbiter, even the ones who have totally disavowed him, they have all taken massive amounts of shit for associating with him in the first place. Okay, and so I'm, I think I and Dan are taking tons of shit because we're not saying like, no, we'll never talk to him ever again, right? Like,
I mean, like Erudite was like accused of being like Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
So yes. Okay, a lot of that's unfair. I agree. Okay,
but hold on. But I don't care if it's fair. The thing about it is, like, I was a human being before.
Yes, you do. You do care if it's fair.
Well, no. People can do what they need to do. I was a human being for a decade before I was a Twitch or YouTube political streamer, and so for me, I actually almost see it as like a black mark. Just being real here, I see it as a black mark where you have a 2-year, 5-year, 3-year, 4-year personal friendly pseudo professional relationship and fucking allegations come out and you fucking cut bait and run. I actually think you're kind of a pussy. Now you can kind of say like, hey, this is actually pretty fucked up. It violates my moral code. I don't think that I can associate with this for now. I'll see how things land. That I think is sober. But when you see, no offense to anybody who, if the shoe fits, wear it. There were plenty of people who were like, oh shit, this is big shit. I'm going to take a hit. I'm going to run. And to me, those people are fucking pussies, and they'll say whatever the audience wants them to hear. Like they'll say whatever the audience wants to hear in order to fucking save their own reputation.
I think if you personally know the guy, like, you are more than well within your rights to like abandon that friendship.
I think that
honestly, like
classic lefty thinking, no loyalty.
No. I'm a rhino. First off, I'm a rhino, and secondly, no, like he violated their personal trust.
Sure.
Like this isn't like an egoistic.
I got a couple things. So one, I think there is something to be discussed about like the tensions between responsibilities to the greater political projects, responsibilities to friends, responsibilities to how you deal with these things. I think that's worth discussing. But I do want to turn the focus back onto the politics of it. And this is a question that I want to ask to Roan, to Sinte, and even to Counterpoints, perhaps, right? So let's use Destiny as an example. Might as well. We've been doing it all night. So Destiny, it runs for DNC, right? He runs for influence within the DNC. Do you vote for him?
It depends on who the Republicans are running. If the Republicans are running
the DNC, the Democratic Party.
Yeah, the DNC.
Yeah, no, it still depends on like it's like in context. Like if the Republicans are running someone,
if
like
the
Trump
alternative
or
is Hassan Piker,
Musk,
if the alternative is Hassan Piker,
or something like that,
every goddamn day of the week, you better fucking believe it, 100%.
Yeah, it depends on the alternative.
Yeah, if the alternative is actually like a socialist or a communist revolutionary fucking freak who's trying to mobilize hundreds of thousands of young people to hate the United States of America and go out into the street and fucking throw bricks at cops, yeah, you better believe I'm voting for the fucking sex pest liberal over the fucking leftist revolutionary.
What I really hated about
Roan,
Hassan
you don't
is when
agree
he
with that. Roan, you said policy was not an acceptable reason to support Donald Trump. So you disagree with him, Roan?
No, No.
Yes,
think
you said
that-
Republicans are so deep in the red, Democrats could never get there because they supported Donald Trump for his policy.
Yeah, Donald
even though
Trump's-
he was a terrible
Donald
person.
Trump's
But in this
misconduct is
analogy,
far worse.
Donald
so
Trump would
you
be Hassan
disagree
Piker.
that
No.
policies are good enough.
In
No,
this
you
analogy,
wouldn't.
Donald Trump would be Hassan Piker. If there was a Nikki Haley or a Ron DeSantis who was running in the Republican Party, then that would be the person who would be flawed or fucked up, but you would still vote for them over the fucking callous, fucked up
Yeah, I
person
would
that
vote
you
for
think is
Nikki
going to be
Haley over
disastrous.
For sure.
No. Donald Trump
Me
would be
too.
the Destiny because he's the one with legitimate like character issues that go into the realm of
And
illegality.
no, but there are worse character
Not
issues
Hassan.
than Destiny's character issues. Like there
yes,
are worse.
of course.
character
That's the
issues.
point of the
But,
analogy.
okay.
But you don't
I
agree
know
with
you're-
that.
this is
Hold
flying
on,
right
let me
over
ask
your
you,
head.
like specifically for Hassan, like what character issues outside of politics, what
Yeah.
character issues has Hassan demonstrated that's this bad?
If
I don't know if we
she's
wanna
old
get
enough
specific.
to count, she's old enough to mount. That's a pretty fucked up thing to say.
That's
Well,
worse
when-
than sharing someone's nudes without their consent. Clarify. Yes or
Yeah,
no?
no, that's terrible.
Which is
That's
worse.
Terrible.
Which is worse.
Yeah, which is worse.
Worse than
Yeah.
like advocating for fucking minors? Like
Not
I don't. Like,
advocating,
I'm probably advocating for
making
fucking
a
minors.
joke.
Like, I don't-
What is worse, making a joke or sharing someone's
Listen,
nudes without
guys,
their consent?
I think no. Hold on. So here's the thing. There are these things.
This
that we
is the
don't-
problem Mr. Girl
Wait,
has.
these
You can't
no,
answer
these
that
are
question.
no. I'm going to answer the question.
No,
These are the
Roan
things.
can't, though.
Okay, well, I'm going to. So these are the things that are kind of like known but not said. So I'll just fucking say it again. I just talked to fucking Lav the other day. I asked her whether or not Paris Jackson had a consensual but illicit sexual affair with Hassan when she was 17. She said, yeah. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and roll with the fact that allegedly Hassan Piker had sex with a 17-year-old. And according to Roan, he said something that lines up with that. So yeah, I would view leaking nudes, not the non-consensual shit. The non-consensual shit I would actually probably put a little bit worse. But a 25-year-old having sex with a fucking 17-year-old, even if it's consensual, I would view that as fucking a phoebophile fucking bullshit, an indication of some greater character flaw. 100%.
Would you see that as worse than like the recording and leaking?
The recording,
non-consensual recording.
the recording without consent, absolutely. Yeah. I would see recording without consent
that's a
as
whole ass
worse
action.
than having maybe we're talking about like degrees of evil here, where we're kind of like,
I know. I'm not
we're stuck
asking
here.
you to defend either of them, but like,
right.
But the point I'm trying to make is that like, okay, this is I did see that part. This is a relatively new thing that I guess I just learned. Like that's a fair point to make. I feel two things. The first thing I think is if the if the allegations of the audio recording come out to be true, and you think that's like either on par or like somewhat close to be as bad, I mean, then we're dealing with somebody who has like character flaws, worse than Hassan potentially, because there's also a greater extent. But then the other part is like let's be honest with ourselves here. Let's say that came out and like this Destiny stuff never happened. Would you be attacking Hassan's fans for sweeping for him?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Because the character flaws are not actually my issue. The character, like I think Hassan is just a very like a bore and
politically ineffective.
Yeah, you don't like
politically ineffective.
No, politically ineffective.
And here's the thing: I'm actually kind of in the wrong because he has a bigger audience. So who's actually more politically ineffective? Like at the end of the day.
Well,
like
leftists don't vote.
He's also hot, so it's hard.
Lactoid. Hold on.
So
I want to make sure everybody heard me. Leftists and progressives don't vote, so don't worry about political effectiveness coming out of the left wing. So
here's the issue: is like so for the analogy, Destiny is the
I
Trump.
do, but in
Destiny
Germany,
is the morally worse person with worse character things accused of him, because the issue here is if we agree that if the Cherry stuff is true, it's worse than if the Hassan stuff is true.
I gotta
They both
reiterate.
no victims' names.
Gotta
It's
reiterate.
hard. I know.
If the unconsensual recording and sharing and the Hassan thing, apparently we can say that victim's name is true, then that Destiny's would be worse. Then Hassan and Destiny both have allegations. Destiny's is worse, and then Destiny has proven malfeasance that Hassan just
Hold
straight
on.
up does not
There's
have.
2 points. We got to hit him. I don't want to lose him. You go, Roan. I'll write them down. Roan, if you don't talk, I'm going to talk. Okay, so I'm going to talk. Okay,
can I just quickly?
Motherfucker, Connor, go ahead, please.
Now I'm fucking losing them.
Counterpoints, then Roan. Now I'll make a decision.
Okay, we're talking about the personal and the political. Okay, so when it comes to the personal, we have to understand. I think I actually wrote this down. As the stakes increase, I think the responsibility decreases and the inverse. And what I mean by that
Agreed.
is you ask the DNC chair, okay? So let's say that Destiny has the same allegations and Hassan has technically better allegations against him that are not as serious, okay? But let's say the Democratic Party is split straight down the middle and they're going to seize power. Hassan Piker is 49% of the fucking party, and they are rabid socialist communists. They want to kill your capitalist parents. They want to have a Chinese fucking revolution. They want to do all this bullshit, right? They want to do all this vanguard leftist bullshit, okay? And then Destiny has the worst allegations, but he wants basic liberalism, a progressive tax rate. He wants you to be nice to the gays or whatever. Of course, 10 times out of 10, I am overlooking the fucking worst personal allegations in order to make sure that the policy doesn't destroy the country.
Yeah, you're making Lactoid Nye's point that Roan disagreed with, which is that you can support
What do I
Trump for
disagree
his policies despite being the worst character choice because you find the policies to be so much more important.
I wish you made this argument.
But are
during the
rhinos-
election.
level.
Wait, I'm literally advocating for that.
But
I don't know, but
rhinos.
Why
Because
wasn't
you're
this
saying it's
coming
not
up months ago during the election?
Hold on. You view rhinos.
I literally
Oh,
am.
you gave me the second point. The second point. This is what I wanted to say to Lactoid. Okay. So us 6 people here, we relatively like to talk about policy. We like to talk about immigration. We like to talk about current events. We like to talk about news. We like to talk about all that shit. 90% of fucking on people on Twitter, they don't give a fuck about that. They only care about the battles of personalities. So what's more effective? Me typing out an exactly to the maximum character limit treatise on how I don't like Hassan's policies, or me calling him a fucking pedophile, right? Me calling him a pedophile is infinitely more effective for being like, this guy fucking sucks and no one should listen to him, right? And so
I don't know though, because it doesn't stick. It doesn't stick because it's fantastical, and we don't know.
But
it
now
to be true.
you're changing the hypothetical. You're
No.
Wait.
I'm not.
Connor, maybe I'm confused. I get your point, but like, what was the point in response to?
So, I think the question was, would you attack people on a personal level over policy or something like that? That was the question.
No. That's what okay, I understand. What I asked was, let's say
would
these
I attack
allegations-
people outside of the group?
Yeah.
For
if these
personal
allegations, like let's say the leaking news thing didn't even happen to Destiny. Let's say it happened to Hassan. I mean, if are we like,
I would use that as a cudgel to beat him up with
Destiny's-
every single day, 100%.
For sure, and I think a lot of Destiny's audience would as well. And I just don't like. It just feels like such a hypocritical act to for years now be raving as to like, this person's a bad person and you can't support them. This person's a bad person, you can't vote for them. This person's a bad XY blah 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 blah.
It's how
and
Trump
then
happened.
yeah, it was how Trump how
but
would
hold
you
on.
ever consider voting for Trump?
I
Like,
said
Trump's
this.
a terrible person. I've had debates where people are like, how could you possibly even consider that? And we go through the whole policy consideration thing. And then you guys just sort of made that argument, but it feels like you're making the argument like at a time that's like pretty convenient to make that argument.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hold on.
Yeah.
So we could check the fucking
So
videos.
so your philosophy is wrong. Like your philosophy of like ignoring bad character for the sake of policy and power, like that's wrong.
I don't think he said that.
Thank
So-
you. Connor.
Wait, no. I mean, it's the philosophy you're advocating for when you vote for this guy. So
No,
like,
it's not.
No,
He's
so-
saying
so
yeah,
hold
it
on.
is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. When
No.
you were overlooking,
It's an
when you
appeal to
overlooking a
pragmatism.
fucking, a rape attempt. You are making you're advocating for that philosophy.
So hold on.
The reason I'm making this argument
you
right
are.
now and not 2022 is because the world looks way different and much scarier nowadays than it looked 2 years ago.
Correct.
Right now I would not be advocating for like debasing Hassan or like fucking with his shit right now either, because we need him too. We need everybody. We need fucking Jeffrey Dahmer to fight on our side.
What? No.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Connor,
Hold
should
on.
Jeffrey Dahmer fight for your side? What do you think?
Well, we did this I actually literally did this on Twitter with the fucking Nazis and ethno-nationalists pointing out to a Republican that they're disproportionately going to support Trump. And does he ally himself with those people? Because he was trying to do the same shit to me. No, I don't think that you should ally yourself with fucking serial killers, right? But anyways, so hold on. Here's the thing. So I suspect that everybody in this room has a higher than 90 IQ, and I respect you for it, okay? So I'm going to articulate this. I might have brought up personal issues like Donald Trump cheated on his wife, and people are trying to split the personal and the political. I am trying to say that the personal affects the political. So if he's willing to lie to the person closest in his life, to cheat on her during her most vulnerable moments in life, during pregnancy. This is supposed to be a time of joy and celebration in a family man's life. And he is willing to lie to that woman in order to go stick his dick in a porn star, then he's a fucking piece of shit. But it's not just that he's a piece of shit and he's a perfect politician. It's that I suspect his piece of shittiness is going to inform his bad politics. And so as an example, because I think this guy is retarded and he follows his impulses, today, as an example, I already said this, he cited DEI as the cause of the DC plane crash while they're still fishing bodies out of the Potomac. I don't think anybody with any kind of like IQ over 90 or moral center greater than a lizard would say those things.
No, well, look, yeah, fair criticism. I think that's bad.
But the personal effects the political.
I could do the whataboutism thing and say,
do it.
Oh, there's a bunch of people on Twitter talking about how the Trump is responsible before we fish out the bodies, right? I think Whick just had somebody on just before this who was perhaps making that argument. So yeah, but here I'm not even going to do that. I just did it a little bit tacitly, but I'm going to say directly, people shouldn't do that. That's shitty. All right.
No, hold on.
Now, what
I'll wait.
address? Yeah, I'm sorry, and I might be losing my train of thought.
I'll take notes,
but the to address like the personal informs the political, right? He cheated on his wife. He lied to somebody at a moment that they're most vulnerable.
He raped a woman.
He did something bad to a
Allegedly.
woman when she was vulnerable.
He raped a woman.
I think this would apply to the Destiny's actions a little bit as well, right? I mean, cheating is bad for sure, but when I would say there was a violation of privacy at a time when someone was vulnerable there.
Yeah.
And in fact, you can also point to terrible politics as well. And I think that there could be a level of disrespect. I think personal is bleeding into the politics as well, right? I mean, we're talking about, he was celebrating the Trump dude who got shot.
Oh, Road and I are going to be best friends after this. Yep. Sorry, I'll read it.
Undermining a ton of potential future political operatives for your side by leaking their naked bodies in a way that ended up on the entire internet. That was one of Pixie's first things. She's like, I can never have an online personality anymore.
Come on.
Listen,
no more
she
victims.
put a fucking Substack article up. It's out.
Bro.
It's done.
It's bro.
Yeah.
Okay. Substack article out.
Hold
on, it's on Twitter.
Hold on.
I want the focus to be on the political actors and the political influencers that we're talking
one
about.
One of the first things cited by the victims of Destiny was, I can never have a fucking political face anymore because it will always be attached to videos of my body that were non-consensually sent. How many times is he going to do this?
Listen, I'm going to defend Whick. I'm going to defend Whick. Whick is the host. He asked you for some level of etiquette. We can have a sober adult conversation without bringing up victims' names. That's what he asked for.
Of course, and that's what I just did. The victims of Destiny, to again recenter the conversation, one of the first things the victims of Destiny cited was, I can never have a political career again. I can never have an online talking career again without it always being linked to being the one who was found in a video shared against my consent.
Monica Lewinsky has a career. She can still have a career. So
Monica Lewinsky has a career because that's exactly what the victim is saying. I will never have a career separate from this now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will never have a career that is not tied to one of my deepest traumas now.
Hold on. So
that's the problem.
All right. There were a few points that I actually thought were really good that I want to address real quick. So Lactoid. You said that, like, well, I think it's fucked up that Democrats are capitalizing on the incident right now while they're still fishing bodies out of the Potomac. So I don't agree with the notion that you can't capitalize off of incidents, particularly if you can speak to something specific that the other side has done. As an example, the article that they almost listed over and over and over again whenever they were criticizing Trump is that he dismissed a bunch of heads of the TSA and the Transportation Security Administration or whatever. And then he also froze new hiring for air traffic controllers. And this is a part of the DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency cuts across the board that are screwing over tens of thousands of people.
We don't have nothing to do with this.
We don't know if we don't have the connection. That's
I'm not saying that's true.
Right. But that's just real quick. That's just as valid as somebody saying, well, Biden's DEI policies caused like meritless people to get in power. And
I think one of them is more probable than the other one.
Do you think it's just as valid? Do you think it's just as valid?
Both are speculation.
Yeah, but the Biden one is more probable. The training process for air traffic controllers, even experienced ones, is over a month. There is literally no way Trump's hiring freeze caused this. There's 0% chance.
I agree, by the way.
But the
one is more probable.
The point is the gutting.
Wait. I need to ask Lactoid this question. do you think it's just as valid as saying that the LA wildfires were caused because of the fucking Delta smelt? Do you think it's at least just as valid as that?
Well, so the argument is that there was like water. There was water that wasn't being directed.
So the answer is yes or no.
Stop. I don't know that. I don't know. I don't know.
Let him answer your question the way he wants to answer. Go ahead.
Thank you, Whick. I don't know that much of like that many details. But if the argument is, hey, because of like XYZ environmental reason that we don't like because environmentalism is bad, whatever the fuck. If they're arguing that for environmental reasons, like water was being diverted away from areas being mismanaged and like water was being diverted away. I think her own fire chief got fired because she was saying the mayor was mismanaging shit and was being bad at like handling the whole situation. And so if Trump's saying, hey, like this is related, that could be true, and we have a lot more time here to like make those arguments. I agree that right now this happened last night with the crash at the bottom.
I think it's. I'm just going to go ahead and say I think it's irresponsible and fucking retarded of him to say that.
But sure, great, and again, what are your thoughts on what Jeb said?
What did Jeb say?
It's at least more likely than the people on the Democrat side saying that Trump's hiring freeze caused this.
Okay, so
it is less
the fucking fish.
Stop.
Come on, this is
ridiculous. We're not talking about the fish anymore.
I'm talking about the DEI, about the fair traffic control issue that just
First
happened.
of all, I give more weight to what the president of the fucking United States says, and I find that more condemnable than what people on Twitter have said. But you're correct. Everyone on Twitter blaming anything about what Trump did on this is also retarded and dumb and stupid. You are correct. Both are correct. Yes, anyone who is before an investigation has been launched and we don't have any information right now, we can just make guesses. Anyone saying anything and using this as a weapon, the 60 dead bodies, making bullets out of them to shoot at their political enemies, needs to really take into account, like, and search their soul to see what kind of person they are, because they're not going to like what they find when they do that.
Wick, do you acknowledge?
Wick's a principled guy. Look at that. That's principles.
Wick, I have a question for you. Do you acknowledge that like Republicans do this like on a 10-to-1 ratio?
Yes,
compared to
and
Democrats?
you know what?
That's very hardcore.
Of
course you
do what Republicans do because I think Republicans do bad shit. So I don't do that bad shit. That's it.
But it's effective now. Like I
don't care if it's effective.
You don't care if it's effective.
Look, if I could be effective by going out and killing 10 people at random, I would still say, no, the cost is too high. I'm violating my principles. I don't care about being effective enough to kill 10 people.
But Republicans kill more people, though. Republicans kill more people.
They do.
Officer, how can you arrest me for drunk driving? Trump did worse things.
Right. One of your principles should also be that you should avert this kind of like
why are we worried about my drunk driving when Trump's the president? Okay, Trump's done way worse.
FBI do literally
That's what I say every day.
No one's making whataboutism arguments.
Okay, hold on.
You have been making hypocrisy. You've been making nothing but whataboutism arguments the entire
No one's done any whataboutism.
You have done it 8 or 10 times already so far.
You don't know what it is. It's okay.
Hey, Wick, can you at least acknowledge that? What about Republicans?
Not everyone has to be like informed on all these like little.
That is a whataboutism.
I'm gonna pass it to counterpoints. I don't want to get. Look, I don't want to get stuck on this. This is a debate. If you guys want to hold the airline debate, maybe I would love to have that. But
there is no debate to be had until an investigation happens. But it's definitely not Trump's hiring freeze.
I want. Okay,
I think it was a good guess.
My problem. This is my problem. Okay, I am a neoconservative out of the closet. Okay, George W. Bush made neocon very unsexy for a couple of decades. I had an aversion to the fact that I was a neoconservative, but eventually I was like, you know what, being liberal in principle but leaving the left because they're too fucking crazy, and then also espousing American virtues internationally through soft and hard power is actually fucking based, and that's actually what I talk about a majority of the time, right? So anyways, I like rhinos who are actually principled. I like neocons who are actually principled and not total fucking freak war hawks. There's only a few of them, but I like them. And unfortunately, I like liberals over MAGA, but I don't like liberals over rhinos or neocons. And the reason why is because I think liberalism is spineless. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is because you guys are acting like I'm doing a political calculation so I can make sure that Destiny and his camp win. And the truth is, I don't want them to win. I want liberal values to win, but I don't want everybody to be a Coomer degenerate, drug addicted, not Destiny specifically, but drug addicted fucking freak. I don't want that. Right?
I do actually.
So
is your plan?
I do want to take
He
this
needs us
moment
weekend for the great.
I want to ask
Greenland
one question
War.
about that, because that actually
Sure.
goes back to something you said before.
Can you hold on for a minute, because
Sure,
I want to make a little money here.
Write it
and I
down.
do have
Oh,
some
of course,
super
of course, of
chats,
course.
and so
How dare
allow me
you.
to just go through these, and we can.
Like
add them.
socially, we have very different counterpoints.
Yes, but let me get to the super chats. I just need to make a little money today. Okay, thank you, and thank you for the super chats. Keep them coming. I'll read them when I can. $5 from another new account to say, "Oh my God, why are you making this political? It was pilot error. Listen to the damn audio." Heli pilot asked for and got visual separation. It's not political.
I'm gonna piss real quick.
$10 from Audacity. I think the major difference is that Destiny stuff is verifiable, and Trump's EJC stuff has the outs of it supposedly happening a long time ago, and the bias of the New York City justice system. Thank you for $10.
Go fuck yourself, whoever that was.
$2 from Cameraman 502. Which president was the one free grope made for? $5 from Trib1. If you voted for Trump, you are a hack. There is a rap sheet of reprehensible stuff from Trump before, during, and after his first run. Ignorance is not an excuse. $2 from the Trib1. Trump has slogans, not policy. He's also anti-USA. Thank you for the $2. $5 from In Pursuit of Knowledge. The difference is that conservatives love that Trump is a bad character. They like that he raped women because it owns the libs. And thank you for the $5.
Christ.
Okay. Back to the matter at hand. Lactoid, you had a question? Go for it.
Yeah. Is your plan here to what I get asked? I've been asked this. This is like back in high school. Like we would ask, like, if it was like the World War II and like you were in Germany, what would you do? Would you fight against the Nazis, or like how?
What you're doing right now?
How would you deal with them, right? And some people would say like, well, what I would do is I would join the Nazi party and then change it from the inside. I'd be like the good one, and I would like do my best to like alter course. And be close enough to Hitler to like tell him not to do the bad shit.
So true.
But I can't be too critical to Hitler.
That's the Rhino philosophy.
Yeah, but I can't be too critical to Hitler.
I want to know where this is going, but I
well,
like it.
The question is, like you said before, Connor, you were talking about how you want to be like the example. Maybe somebody might tune into Destiny and see you, and like this is an example of a good person that you can be. Like you can be that advocate. Are you trying
a bad
to, like,
person who's trying?
Yeah. Well, okay, come on. Are you trying to like change the Nazi party from the inside? Is that like kind of the comparison here?
Sure.
Are you trying to like be? Is your goal here to like infiltrate the badness and make it? Well, in this hypothetical,
they're Nazis.
Yeah, no. So unironically, yes. And the reason why is because
strategy.
I'm very serious in this. So I started like very Christian, very conservative. My parents are dogmatic Christians. They're religious literalists. They both believe in Christ as the savior and incarnation of God. Like I went to church every day for 18 years. And I feel like as a result of that like grip, that religious grip on my life, when I turned 18, or actually being real, like 16, I rejected all that shit. And I was like, hedonism is the way to go. Let's smoke pot. Let's drink. Let's, try to hook up with girls. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Logically follows.
And that lasted until I was 22. But when I was like 22, I was like, holy shit, I'm having all these pleasurable experiences, but I'm a miserable, selfish cunt. What is wrong with me? Why do I hate myself? Why do I hate everyone else? Like this is fucking terrible. And so what I did is, I'm still not a religious literalist, but I started incorporating like the values and virtues of my parents back into my life. And slowly but surely I created I don't want to say created, but I rediscovered the morality. Like it's like the story of the prodigal son who returns from being a fucking asshole. Right. And so as a result, it's like, I feel liberals, in my opinion, and Destiny specifically, this is going to be a little mean. I feel like he is in a hell of his own creation. Okay. He is rich. He is powerful. He has access to unlimited pussy. Plenty of people want to know what he has to say. And yet I feel like he just lost 80% of his friends in one fell swoop. And that is a self-caused wound. And that wound is caused by nihilism and hedonism and, no offense to liberalism, liberalism.
No, wait,
Well, but would you agree it's also
why is liberalism?
Modern day,
would you agree it's also
weird?
And I think this is the main part. Do you agree that it's also caused
It was
in large
caused
part
by leaking of
by
news.
a large caused in large part by a disregard for other people?
Yeah.
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 But I, by the way, I think nihilism and atheism, or at least anti-theism, I think it encourages a self-centered worldview, because logically, you are here. You're only here for 60 to 80 years. You're going to die. It's going to be perpetual oblivion. You're not going to be conscious. So you might as well maximize your pleasure and minimize your pain.
No,
and if a few people get hurt, and if a few
friends and being like social and happy.
Yeah, but see, you're not a sociopath.
Yeah,
you're not a sociopath.
So for us with empathy, right?
And a theist, then you can be not a sociopath and an atheist. These things have nothing to do with each other.
Sure.
You are fighting shadow boxing. You are shadow boxing something.
Ecte or synth.
No, synth is okay. It's okay.
Synth. So okay. I'm not saying that religious people aren't capable of horrors or terrors, and I'm not saying that religious people can't do wrong or evil. Okay. However,
I'm not even saying it's correlated.
Okay, but I'm saying that a sociopath who is a devout Christian has 10,000 laws about their conduct that tells them that they cannot hurt other people. Whereas a nihilist hedonist only has the laws, and if they're sociopathic, they only have the laws that they themselves choose to abide by. And so I would rather have somebody who chooses to go by codified laws that have evolved over thousands of years, rather than somebody who says, I'm just going to create my own laws. Because the truth is, especially smart people, I want to finish this idea, especially smart people can post hoc justify almost any bad behavior.
That's true. Even Christians, like even people with a lot of with a holy book full of laws, can justify with these things. Like this
and I think they would be. I think they would. No, it does matter. It does matter.
They don't matter.
It does matter. It does matter. It does matter. No, this matters. No, this is related. I promise you, it's related. Okay. No, it's related. Morality is 100% related.
You've heard of those Salem witch trials? Like that was
they were fucking witches. They were worshiping the devil. Fucking murder. We didn't kill enough witches to be honest.
Come on.
I'm serious. Have you seen TikTok? We didn't kill enough of them. So, anyways, the point.
That's ridiculous.
No, it's true. So
I think atheists. I think an atheist with a functioning sense of empathy. Like they're like, for example, like
I'm not throwing this all at the feet of atheism.
I know. I'm not a religious guy. Like I generally have like I like when other people feel good, right? It's like a thing, right? But I think that sometimes, but not always. We can talk about that later. But when it comes to like actions like this, I think that if you think like if in your mind you're like, I'm just gonna send this, or I'm gonna record this, I'm just gonna send this.
Yeah,
I think there's like two. There's like either you just like this is a complete disregard of other people, like you're just very like egoist, an apathetic feeling towards other people's well-being, or you do have empathy and you are like very you feel really bad about it, but like it's like you got this massive kink. And like it's just like that could be part of it. I don't know what the motivation.
I want to add another one while we're psychoanalyzing.
It's into a spiritual level, and it's just
hold on, stop. None of this. Honestly, I don't know.
Well, then let me finish, and then we'll move on.
Struggling to see how this relates to the topic.
Because we're talking about morality and the morality of people who act in politics and whether or not we should condemn them. That's what. And so now we're talking about morality. So, anyways, consequentialism.
But we're also talking about
hold on. I want to explain this. Okay. So I think that the way, I already said that I don't think atheism alone is sufficient to get you where I think Destiny went. Okay. I just think that it's I think that atheism logically leads to nihilism. Nihilism logically leads to hedonism. And then if you have a certain level of sociopathy, you can post hoc justify anything. I also think that in this, moral systems don't exist, they're all equivalent, who cares mentality, then you can basically use consequentialism, because consequentialism is inherently appealing. It basically says that if a fucking tree falls in the woods and nobody's around to hear it, then who gives a shit, right? So if you audio record fucking sex acts and you share it with friends and nobody leaks, who cares?
So you're
That's
saying
the
Destiny
only
needs
kind
to
of,
go to church. That's what you're saying.
yes, actually, 100%.
Well, let's on that note, right? I wanna ask this. Again, Destiny's the most recent one, so I guess he's the example we're using. So let's assume everything that has been said about him is true. Everything that he's accused of doing, he did. How can he come back from this? Should we accept him back? Or let me ask it this way: at what point should Democrats or people who are former DGGers or former orbiters or what have you, what steps need to happen for people to be like, okay, we can start, listening to you again. We can start platforming you again. We can
Sex
start
addiction therapy,
whatever,
probably.
right? Whatever
And
happens to be, right?
and
What
like
needs
actual
to happen?
actions taking place, like that he does, to at least make an impact on this issue. Believe it or not, a lot of young men, just men in general, a lot of men do the kinds of things that Destiny did. Like, I've had people fucking try and like take pictures of me without my consent. And it's really fucked up.
Real quick, have you done what Destiny did?
No, I've had what Destiny did done to me. And it's shockingly common. And I think if
this was like all of high school in the 2000s.
No, even people in their fucking 30s still fucking do that shit. And it's terrible.
In
it's
their
bad.
30s, really?
Yeah,
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
Degenerates,
I don't know,
liberals.
men are creeps.
But
Like,
here's my thing: is like men won't stop being creeps until people start holding them accountable publicly.
Well, no, okay, hold on. Well, first off, what honestly, Destiny, the best thing Destiny can do is start a dialogue about this kind of behavior and why it's bad, and like influence. Like,
Has he made any attempt to do that?
It's bad.
No.
Okay.
No, and that is damning, right?
Yeah, and here's my thing with.
But that doesn't
to
mean
answer the
wait.
question,
That doesn't mean he can't. That doesn't mean there isn't time in the future for him to do that.
Yeah, you think it's gonna
I think
happen?
they're. Yeah, I think they're.
I strangely
Fell for it again award.
no.
So-
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think there is a chance that like he can start that conversation.
Yeah, here's the
Like,
issue.
you
The
really
best
don't
thing
think so?
with Destiny is the same thing that would have been the best thing with Trump.
No.
which
Wait,
was
Laxo,
actually-
you think that there's no chance?
I think if it was the first time, yeah. If he was younger, sure, I'm willing to. When I first heard about it, my initial thought process was like, yeah, that's bad, but like, you can't like jump to conclusions, right? But from shit keeps happening, shit keeps coming out, and the response is nothing. There's nothing. There's no kind of like
no
contrition,
remorse,
no remorse. It's just narcissistic rage against anybody who dares criticize him. And this, to me, very much like Connor was pointing out, this to me demonstrates a true sociopath. Cynthia, you said he is a sociopath, but you just don't care. You like him because he's
don't even like him.
The lack of regret in his like messaging so thus far has been
he's like
pretty
what?
apparent. Has been pretty apparent.
Yeah, but you're mid-30s and there's like what 6 or 7 allegations, or just shit keeps piling up. Like how many more?
So
Can I answer
hold on.
the question that you asked, Whick?
I'll wait.
Because the question asked was where's the line where we stop supporting him and we stop giving him chances? And my argument is that it was the same as it is for Trump.
No. The question.
No, it's the other way around. It was the other way
that.
around.
The question is like after assuming everything he did, he's accused of, he actually did.
true.
At what point do we say, okay, he's repented, and we could accept him back?
He has to show it.
No, there was.
In his
I thought there
actions.
was both questions. I thought also you said, or is there a point where we just say it's done?
I mean, if Donald Trump wasn't president right now, I would be done with him. Like that's my line. But like the very fact that like we're in this political like climate.
You hate him. It's like
Yeah, Donald Trump, the fascist, the rapist, the criminal, Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. Yeah, absolutely. I fucking hate his guts.
The fascist.
Jeffrey
All right, well then go, Connor, because apparently I thought that Whick also asked when is the line where we just say no more.
Like
as well,
I think that the whole topic is that question.
No more or welcome back.
That's my thing. I thought he asked both.
Welcome back.
Yeah, that's understood.
Okay, well, no more is probably like rape, murder. I think we can start there and work our way back in.
I think what he's did now, honestly, is a little bit in the no more category.
Oh, 100%. So the welcome back. Yeah, I think that's going to have to be. It's going to be evaluated by each individual, but I think it's going to have to be extended periods of time without that behavior like redemonstrated. And by the way, the clock doesn't start in 2023. It starts in January 9th, 2025.
Yep.
So he was trying to say, oh, this is 2022. This is 2022. And it's like, no, dude, like you were in the middle of a sex scandal for illicitly sharing nudes and you were joking with more women about sharing more nudes. That doesn't show contrition. It doesn't show apology. It doesn't show anything like that. Now,
He
for
has to
me
express
personally,
regret.
well, but here's the thing. I'm with Lactoid. I don't even know if he's capable of regret.
Everyone's capable of regret.
Well, so hold on. I'll tell you. I'll tell you how I want to tell you how I got to regret. Okay, so the way that I got to regret was I had a series of hedonistic relationships with a series of women, and then on the probably I don't know like sixth one that I actually really cared about, it fucking hurt a lot to break up, and I was like, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. Like we had fun. Very cool in a lot of ways, very toxic in a lot of ways. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to find my wife. And so I actually became like celibate for a few months and I found my fucking wife. And so the thing about it is like hedonism, I've criticized hedonism tonight, but like mature hedonists often live very normal lives. But the reason why is because they realize that if they do a bunch of hard drugs, they're going to pay a bunch of hard health consequences and they're going to have terrible relationships and they might become criminals. They keep good relationships with their friends and family because that brings them some level of contentment and joy. So what I would say is, you're like, when will Stephen mature? When will he show regret? I don't expect him to do that, but I would be interested in a mature hedonistic perspective from Stephen where he's like, I don't want to fuck with e-bitches anymore because they fuck up my life. So I'm going to find somebody that I love.
He
fucks up their lives. Let's be honest.
True.
Hold on. Let me ask a clarifying question here to counterpoint. So just to be clear,
sure,
you do not require regret. You'd like it, but you do not require regret.
I don't think he's capable of it. So
no, come on.
So then
no,
maybe
I'm serious.
Maybe that's what you were saying about Trump, where you just say no more then. If he cannot feel regret for harming other people, maybe we just say no more. Maybe we say no more even before the illegal stuff. Maybe we say no more for the Lawrence Southern stuff.
No, this is actually
show that he doesn't give a fuck about anybody.
No. Hold on.
Or gooning.
Regret
it goes beyond that.
Regret is not required for a modification of behavior. So, for instance,
modification of behavior isn't sufficient. Is what I'm saying.
For me, it is 100%. It is.
Why would the modification of behavior be enough to absolve for actual bad behavior? I get if he was starting at 0 and he modified behavior and stayed at 0, but you have to have some level of retribution, some sort of absolution for what you have done.
No, so hold on. Let me follow you there.
If you've done damage to people and to an entire political space, why would you not be expected to then contribute in some net positive way to that space?
He's going to do that. That's going on. He's literally going to pay for that. There's going to be restitution.
But why not?
There's a difference between restitution and retribution, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's not about retribution either. It's about him actually contributing to repairing the damage he did to the space, not just to himself.
Okay. That's fair. Like I'm a big believer in the idea that your body doesn't only belong to you. Like you can't like take heroin and then expect your family to be okay with it. And the same thing is kind of true with Destiny. Destiny has chained himself to this political movement a lot. And what he's done here is like everybody who's defending Destiny right now, or not even defending Destiny, defending his usefulness or something, should be at the most mad at the man himself, at Destiny, what he's done to his own reputation.
Yeah, but that's the other thing that I don't think we've touched on with the difference when people brought up Trump. One of the big differences is like the primary utility of Trump, either positively or negatively to all of us, is the policy things that he does as president. That's like the lion's share of who he is and what he is to us and how it affects us.
No, it's not. No, the lion's share is that
not to you, but to everybody else. The thing that
to any reasonable human being.
No, to any reasonable human being, the thing that affects you the most, literally, in a factual sense, is if he fucks your taxes, takes away your guns, all that kind of shit.
Jeff Pan. So if Destiny was a Democratic politician and not a streamer, you would consider voting for him if it's
because I'm gonna finish the point. So not only is he bad as a political operative, but we are also ignoring the fact that he is also most of his personality, like at least half of his content, is him talking about interpersonal shit. Like 20% of it was him talking about how to manage sexual relationships and consent. So the issue is you can't just say, when you have to accept that when you say wrongly, just incorrectly, that he will now still be effective as a political operative as long as we cover for him enough. When you incorrectly say that, you are also accepting the damage he will do along the way, because he will continue to be who he is, which is
How is
someone
it
who
that Donald Trump
proselytizes morally and tells people how to live their lives, whether he says, I'm not telling you how to do it, I'm telling you what I do. He's still instructing a lot of young men on how he sees consent, how he views this stuff, and it clicks for them, and they agree with it, and then they see him do this, and then they see people covering for him, and so that becomes married to what they knew from him before.
I want to address this directly.
Just as willing to follow it.
Yeah, I want to address this directly. So, turns out polyamorous liberals are retarded about relationships. Who fucking knew, right?
Yeah.
And
God.
And so I think that if you were, I don't know, a center-right neocon guy who was in Destiny's orbit, then if some liberals, like the fucking bisexuals in my fucking chat, bisexual isn't a slur, right?
Hey, why are you throwing bisexuals under the bus?
Because they're in my chat.
Let him go. He's not going to finish his point.
They're in my chat, and they're being very annoying about it. They're like, I'm bi, and I'm like, fuck off.
Especially the ones that give you money.
Who the fuck is in your chat? Like, oh, look at me, I'm
bisexuals. He said
half of them.
Half
Half of them. So anyways, so what I'm going to tell them is the proof is in the fucking pudding, right? If you evaluate it, you can be like, oh yeah, he's a millionaire, he dates hot women, et cetera, et cetera. Those are things that 19-year-olds are interested in. If you're fucking 25 or older and you still care about dating some fucking hot 19-year-old Instagram thought, you're sexually retarded. I'm just going to share that with you. Like you're actually like, there's something stunted about your emotional and sexual development that you should try to evolve, okay? And then here comes the sweep, okay? Bad as a political operative. The reason why I kind of take issue with this is because people use the election as the barometer through which they evaluate Destiny's personal effectiveness within the election. I can't think of another streamer or political figure who actually participated in electoral politics and got a few dozen to a few hundred people to show up to knock on thousands of doors, and also got people to volunteer to live in canvassing houses over the course of a year that added cumulatively up to I think PV's claim is 1.6 million voter contacts. You can say that it didn't win the election, and I will fucking hear you all day on that shit, that it wasn't fucking enough. But tell me another alternative media figure who has mobilized their audience in another similar way, and I don't think you can.
Sorry, to clarify, what I'm saying is from this point forward that there's a reality where
he's damaging to that aesthetic. Operative. Sure. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So right now, from this point forward is what I'm talking about, because that's the conversation we're having is, should people not excuse, because I get you're not excusing, but should people sort of allow it to fall into the background naturally as things in the internet do, and so that he can be a political operative? I know, but that's what generally the tweet that Whick brought up at the very beginning of the panel said. Well, they were a little more aggressive, but what I'm saying is, by doing that, you're kind of in football terms, you're paying top dollar for like an aging veteran quarterback. You've seen Destiny's best days now, and you're paying him for what he could do before. You're expending political capital to support someone who's done things like
who's going to replace him.
At this point, that's what everyone says about aging quarterbacks that get paid too much. Who's going to be who this guy has been? The issue is he's not capable of being that guy anymore now. So you're paying him for what he used to be.
I think you're underestimating.
Maybe you guys should keep him around, actually. Jeb's making
yeah, maybe liberals should keep him around.
Maybe they should.
They never look that bad.
That's a good point, actually.
They never look that bad once people start.
You're doing some sneaky shit. I see you.
Yeah.
When people start having these conversations, the aging quarterback never looks that bad yet. That's why it's still a conversation. It's only 2 years later when people finally look back and say, "Oh yeah, we fucked up."
Maybe we're going too hard.
Okay. Could have replaced Destiny like rhetorically, and here I'm gonna like earn some looks here. And Mr. Girl, I think, is the only guy who actually trounced Destiny on the regular.
Who's that guy who was on recently? Who's not the Dean Withers guy.
Hold on.
One guy who was on.
They're all twinks. They're all twinks, man.
On
Luke Beasley.
Yeah, Dean Withers.
No,
Luke Beasley.
Luke
Beasley. Luke
that
Beasley.
kid, that kid is intelligent enough to be better than Destiny because he's
Really?
not held back by the bullshit.
Yeah.
Wait,
But-
what's it? Never mind.
But people only have
TikTok
so many
debaters
hours
are
in a day
awful.
to invest in creators. And so
Okay.
the more investment we put in the aging fuck quarterback, the less we can
Damn.
develop the young.
No,
raw
no,
Don't send them
development.
to them.
You can go to-
Let's-
you
I'm
can
not
make
going
the
to listen
argument-
to. I'm
No,
not
I don't
want
wanna-
to. Jet, like,
Wait, no, you can make the argument that Destiny
I don't want to
Awesome.
fucking listen to fucking
Well,
Luke
do
Beasley.
you think that guy's ever
that-
going to be able
liberals
to grow if
might.
he attaches himself to
I don't
Destiny
think
now?
he's a. I don't think he's the right play as a Democrat.
Wait, who's Luke Beasley? Am I
Luke
thinking-
Beasley?
Hold on,
He's
hold on,
part of-
hold
he's
on.
part of that, like the group that the Navy
I
SEAL who
think
got
he
Osama
comes off
bin
as
Laden.
he comes,
Mockler,
I'll-
Luke
I don't wanna
Beasley,
get too much into it, right?
Josiah.
I don't want to get
Yeah.
too much into it,
Withers.
but I think he comes off as uncanny valley, right? I don't think his takes are genuine. I think he is a machine
Yo,
in
they-
a lot of ways.
He looks manufactured, not
Yeah.
just in like his
Yeah,
political,
no.
he looks
but
like
also
he
as a
came out of
person.
a factory. And
He does
they
look a
designed
little like
him.
Brett
Default
Cooper
Gear
came out of a
AI.
fucking factory, and look at her. That's the most fucking frigid plastic fucking
Yeah, the
uncanny
Ben
valley
Shapiro
bitch
factory.
I've ever fucking met, and she's a multi-millionaire at 22
Yeah, look, I
for being like,
understand
"Hey,
that-
look at this
I
TikTok.
want-
This
I want
TikTok
someone
sucks."
Human that I'm not like that. I don't suspect of having like this like Neuralink installed in his
Sure,
brain.
so let's go with the guy everyone
right?
here agrees is probably a sociopath. That
No,
totally
Yeah,
aligns
I'm
with
not
what you're
saying
talking
Destiny is the alternative here. I'm saying that like Luke Beasley is. It wouldn't
I'm
be
saying
my
Luke
choice. That's
Beasley's
it.
at
I don't
least-
wanna-
At the very least, Wick, you would agree that like the people who like just couldn't wrap their fucking heads around the idea that somebody might like, well, look, it's Trump against Kamala. Fuck it, like Trump has some negative character flaws, I get, but still the policy considerations are so much. You would have to agree
No,
that
I
like,
would- I would
the
agree.
people who are dumbfounded about that, like they can't be hypocritical about this. Like they have to be eating their words if
But
they are
you-
saying this argument.
Like this is the
What?
same argument they're making in
What?
reverse though about Destiny. They're saying that Destiny, like, yeah, he's not good, but look at the alternatives.
Yeah,
Dude,
but no,
I literally was saying that during the
understand
election.
that.
You're right.
That's
I'm
why I
saying-
started. That's why I started with the
That's,
saying that.
but that's the strategy you've already involved yourself in. So how
This
come
is-
it's fair for you? but
No,
not fair for
I
your
already
political enemy.
I already
No,
explained
it's
that.
not though because he doesn't
already
support
explained.
Elijah Schaefer.
No,
the
it is.
actual
No, it
one-to-one
is. It
comparison.
is. It is fair.
I
it is
already
fair.
explained-
No,
I
it is
already
fair.
explained
It is
this.
fair.
Hi,
No,
can I
it is
respond?
fair to vote. It is
Why
fair
can
to
you
vote
not
for
find
Donald
a
Trump.
single
Wait, let me
one-to-one
just
comparison?
quickly finish my point.
Wait,
Let me
wait,
just
Joe,
quickly
I
finish my
do
point.
like
You
Adam
make your
Mockler,
point.
by the way.
You make
Adam
your point.
Mockler might be.
He's a good
No, I
one.
didn't make my point.
You did. You
No,
made your point.
let me-
You're
I
saying
did
why
not-
doesn't it go the other way around for you? That was your point, was it not?
No. What I'm trying
No,
to
it
say
wasn't.
is
Okay, it better not be.
Republicans are fully within their rights to
Oh, I'd
like
talk to the Adam
elect
kid.
a rapist, Jeffrey Epstein's best friend.
So it was the point. This was the point.
Let me finish.
You
it.
tried to save
If
him
it
from
means,
Why are you
if
trying
it
to save him,
means-
Black?
If it means
He's making a
actually
bad
enacting the political agenda that they're trying to enact. It is
Here-
absolutely a legitimate
Just
strategy to elect
I
bad.
don't know
Are you
how-
just gonna keep talking over me? Like
You've
what's
done
going
that
on
the
here?
whole panel.
no,
to say
what-
butt Trump.
what's going on here?
Every
What's going on
single
here?
point has been butt
What's going on
Trump.
here?
I get it, butt Trump. I can respond to it again.
No, hold on.
If
No,
Destiny
no
was
one's saying
running for
butt Trump.
president
No, I know
against
you
Trump,
have like
I
30
wouldn't blame you
IQ
for
and like
voting
it's hard
for
to
him.
You're
keep up with this
accusing him of
conversation.
interrupting, Jebtan, but Trump.
Yeah,
Hold
but
on.
also Trump.
Dude, no. Trump means you've
Trump
legitimized.
interrupts more. Trump interrupts
Roan.
more, and we tolerate
Oh
him.
my
So.
God, what the
Roan,
fuck?
if
No,
Destiny
no.
was running
How can we
against
criticize
Trump,
you for interrupting
should
Trump?
vote
Guys,
for
I
him.
can't hear
Okay,
shit.
enough.
It's not
Look at
all
Wick
one
interrupting.
cause.
This like straw
all of
man
you,
is
all
so
of you, all
like
of you.
pathetic.
That does
It's
all of you
actually
mean? It means
pathetic.
all of
Guys,
you.
I
It
can't
means
hear
all of
shit.
you. Okay, all of you. Great. Wonderful. Gang. It's almost
I'm okay.
9 o'clock. Ah, Road. Shut up.
But Trump would.
Stop. You too. Like, you guys are physically incapable of shutting the fuck up. You just all are. Everything.
True.
You too. Counterpoints. Oh my God. You're an old man, old as me. You should know better. Just shut the fuck up. We're reconnoitering here. We're reconvening. Okay. Great. Gang. It's 9 o'clock. I got places to be. I got things to do. I got all
Where do
sorts
you
of
have
stuff
to be?
to take care of. Okay. I want to give each of you lovely individuals, an outro. Tell people where you can be found, right? Tell people your final thoughts on this. And then, right, we can finally end this thing. Which one of you is still going to be streaming after this? Raise your hand.
Not me.
No one. Great. I'll find someone to read into. Okay. With that said, we're going to start with counterpoints. We're going to end with Roan. Counterpoints, closing thoughts. Where can people find you?
Yep. Closing thoughts. I think we all do this. I think we all sweep for people in our political tribe, and we also point out the personal flaws of the other people in the other tribe. I absolutely think that Destiny fucked up. However, I think that unless more is revealed, this will die down in approximately 6 months, and he will still be one of the biggest Twitch and YouTube political streamers. All of that will change if something else comes out. When it comes to consequences, I don't need him to personally feel an emotion that he is not capable of feeling. I need him to stop shitty behavior and to demonstrate that over a prolonged period of time. Whether or not that's possible, I have no fucking idea. If you want to check out my content, my most popular content is Warhammer 40K. We're about to break 100,000 subs. We've had 2 or 3 months recently where we broke 1 million views. It's been fantastic. So if you're into science fiction and fantasy and violence, check that out. I also started a Star Wars channel, which I'm following the same formula for. So check out Counterpoints 40K.
Okay. Thank you for being here. Check out. I got some DMs in my DMs saying they want to fight you at some point about your witches comment, but we'll set that up at a later time.
Sounds good.
Okay. Sinte, go ahead.
Okay. You tweeted at one point, like, if we win by abandoning our principles, we don't deserve to win. That was you, Whick.
Yeah.
And I like that tweet. It's pretty succinct. I like it. But I think that can only be said by somebody who doesn't know what losing looks like. Because I think losing might look quite harsh this time around. Sure, and it's only Destiny. But next week it's only Rachel Maddow, and next week it's only gonna be Jon Stewart. It's only ever gonna be like one person. But yeah, this is like death by 1,000 cuts. This is no good. Like sticking to your principles at a time like this, on which I think this means, like, I hasten to say proto, like, authoritarian something, whatever this turns out to be, is like polishing silver on the Titanic. Like, all your high-minded principles, you can write them on your gravestone. It's going to be great. You can take them in the gulag, and it'll keep you warm at night, I'm pretty sure. Principledness is a finite resource. Be principled where it matters. Have a hierarchy of principles, and there you go. You can find me on Twitter and or Blue Sky at Kalianike.
Okay, thank you. Check them out, gang. Link is in the YouTube description. I'll just say very briefly that if Rachel Maddow or Jon Stewart are found to have done what Destiny did, I think that they should also be held accountable. Anyone in the Democratic Party who is found to not consensually record, leak nudes, what have you, should be held accountable to some degree, depending on what they did and the circumstances beyond that. I would not even Biden, right? Not even the highest of the high, right? Should be someone we should cover for. And when they do bad things, that's a principle I have, and I will not apologize for it. Okay, let's give it to Jebtan. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the Destiny Trump comparison is ridiculous. It was a whataboutism that was present this whole time. The fact is, if Destiny and Trump were running against each other for president, I would say if you're a Democrat, you should vote for Destiny. Because at the end of the day, like Sinta actually said, you should have a hierarchy of principles, and you can stick by your principles in condemning Trump, but then understanding that if the Democrats come in and take all of the guns away, or they do anything that goes against your greater principles that affect far more people, then you have surrendered one principle for another. You haven't stood by all of your principles anyway. When it comes to someone like Destiny, though, the reason why the only person here that brought up someone actually comparable to Destiny was Connor, and he named 3 people, none of whom me or Lactoid support, because in the one-to-one comparison, we are perfectly morally consistent on this, and we don't support people who do those things when there is no other principle we are conflicting with in order to support them. That is the problem. Destiny, like I said, I think even as a political operative, you're paying top dollar for an aging quarterback whose best years are behind him. And I understand Luke Beasley, Adam Mockler, none of them look like Destiny now. Destiny then didn't look like Destiny now. And in order to move an audience towards someone and develop a fan base, people have to first give them the chance and go be a part of their fan base. I don't agree with Adam Mockler or Beasley on fucking anything. But at the end of the day, it would be better for Democrats, even on a practical perspective politically, to support people who are better than this. In the final thought on the Destiny shit, I hate this line of if anything else comes out. It seems like every time something new comes out, people then move that line and say, well, if anything else comes out, then it'll. I think we should all just accept his community is largely filled with pieces of shit that admire him for his special variety of being a piece of shit. And they don't care. His community want to watch the stream. They've been watching. They don't care about the victims because they don't know them. And that's why he's going to succeed, not because what he did isn't bad or you should still support him because of it, just because his audience doesn't give a fuck. At the end of the day, he should be condemned and he shouldn't be allowed in Democrat mainstream politics. And you guys are going to feel the pain if he is.
Where can people find you?
Jeb10 RIP on Twitter. I don't really stream or anything.
Fair enough. Blackhood.
I think Jeb 10 makes good points. I know I went kind of hard this panel, and I didn't really mean to, I guess, be overly antagonistic towards people here. I think a lot of it is just a frustration that I have when I perceive people to, have this sort of cognitive dissonance about a situation that, is pretty bad. Like I've said, I mean, if the allegations are true, each individual allegation taken alone might seem like, yeah, it's bad, but it's not like the end of the world. But you're seeing a pattern of behavior. Like you're seeing something repetitive. If you're on your 8th DWI, like that's a problem. Your first one might not be that big of a deal, but your 8th one will, right? You have proven yourself to be, you can't be rehabilitated, right? Like what will it take for you to stop? That's the question I think people need to ask themselves. And I get frustrated when instead of taking a I think really critical look at this, people will choose to instead play team games to the point where it's not like a actual analysis of oh shit, yeah, like et cetera. This is really bad. This is fine. We this should be acknowledged. This should be a question that we have. As opposed to no, we're going to sweep it for this guy, even when he has shown no apology, even when he bans you if you criticize him, even when he has shown really, I think, ruthless tyranny in exacting control over his audience, right? Like, it's not even, there's an apology I could even like maybe take that in mind, like, oh shit, he's actually sorry. Like he couldn't have handled this. I mean, I guess you could have handled this worse, I guess, right? But like, you're close to as bad as you could handle it. And this idea of like, well, yeah, our guy did something bad, but your guy did something worse. This is like Bloods versus Crips logic. You could take this to the ends of the earth. Like the road here is paved with skulls. They did like their tribe killed one of our tribes, so we're gonna go kill one of them. Like they did that. Therefore, their team, their identity, their group, like white people enslaved us. Therefore, they are responsible. Black people do crime. Therefore, they are responsible. As opposed to looking at people what they actually are, which is individuals. And I think Destiny should be judged on his individual actions here, which have been relatively horrific. Again, seeing it as a pattern. But I think that I got a lot of good feedback during this discussion. I think people had really good criticisms, and I don't think there's anybody here who is, really defending the behavior. And even the people who are sort of like trying to, aim the direction at Trump at times would be like, yeah, it's pretty fucking bad. So that's good to see. That's good to see.
Okay. Where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me at LikeToy TV on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube.
Check them out, gang. Last but certainly not least, Ron, go ahead.
Hey, I'd like to address DGG directly. Look, this is humiliating, and there's really no getting around that. You should feel humiliated. Like, it's good that you feel humiliated, and I just want to make sure that you know that feeling of humiliation makes you infinitely better than any of these treasonous rapist supporting slime fucks. For that feeling of humiliation actually makes you like a little bit self-critical, which is something that they do not have, like, even in the slightest. That feeling definitely like separates you from these like pieces of shit. You can support his political project, but don't become like Trump supporters who run cover for the worst America has to offer.
Okay, where can people find you?
They can find me around.
Okay, fair enough. Gang, like the stream if you haven't. Subscribe to the channel. This was a tough one, but we got through it. relatively principled, I think, as a discussion point. I'm going to say bye to these lovely individuals, read the rest of your super chats, and then call it a night. So wave a bye, everyone.
Parasocial love. Catch you next time. Bye. All right. Let's.
That was
I
I
liked
still
it.
love you, Connor.
Love you.
Jeb. Are you a Trump supporter?
Connor, real
I'm
quick,
probably what you would consider. A Trump
I'm
supporter,
still
but-
live, by the way.
I'm a rhino.
Okay, that's fine. I'm serious. I would like to have that discussion with you, especially after today, because I think that might I don't know, that might change your because Ukrainian Anna has me banned on Twitter. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah,
I
sure.
feel so bad for Ukrainian Anna.
Let's so I'm gonna start. I have some content that I have to catch up on editing for this weekend, but the wife and I actually plan, or well, not wife and I, the wife is okay with me
The old ball and chain.
streaming on Saturdays, like noon to 5. So I'm gonna start doing my own content, but of course, like I'm gonna do like call-ins or whatever. So if you're available on weekends, then yeah, of course, like either this weekend or the following.
Before you go, what's your 40k faction?
Yeah, what's your 40k
Death
faction?
Watch. Death Watch.
Death Watch.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 3,000 points of Death Watch behind me, and I'm actually very excited that the Astartes 2 trailer is poking to the point that they're going to be doing Death Watch cinematic.
What? When did you start playing? I started playing when I was 13.
I started reading codexes in 2003. I've been actually I started collecting in like 2004, but I never had enough for an army. Oh shit! I started at the same time. Yeah. I did 4 years in the Marine Corps. I got my 5-year degree. I got a 4-year degree in 5 years. Then I did 4 years in the in law enforcement, and then I got out. And then I was like, wait, there's nobody who's going to make fun of me for playing 40k. I'm going to go collect 40k.
Wait, is 40k easy to get in?
No. It's
how
Okay.
are you in Northeast?
there's really good video games. So I would recommend playing Space Marine 1 and Space Marine 2. Space Marine 2 is phenomenal. I also like Dark Tide, and I like all of the Dawn of War video games, especially like I think 1 and 2 are pretty highly rated. So I would play the video games before deciding whether or not you like it. Because if you try to play the tabletop, you're going to spend, this is what I did. I spent 2 years, I spent like 4 years collecting $2,000 worth of models. I spent 3 hours painting each model, and I've played like 6 games.
Yeah.
So
I was more of a I would never paint my models, but I just play a lot. Like I played in tournaments and stuff.
I never could get into the 40k stuff. I know it was like I was asking you about your things, but I'm personally never like even played it. I just don't have the stomach for like any like grimdark stuff with like big amounts of human
it's so much fun to like sit across the board from somebody and just like shoot the shit as you're just moving models around. That's the fun part.
Yeah, and the tabletop is cool. I just don't like the fucking grimdark human supremacist setting. I can't do that.
It's corny.
Many people do. I can't even talk with people about them.
I get mad. So
hey, I
play worse.
I gotta talk to chat and run, but all of you are free
Yeah.
to add me or DM me, and then I don't know if Lactoid is still here, but
yeah, I think I DM'd you.
Yeah, literally just fucking DM me, and if you guys want to talk one-on-one or on another panel, just
I do.
We'll pick a date.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to you about like rhinos and stuff like that.
Dude,
talk to you about religion.
Now there's 2 of us, right? 2 rhinos.
I know. The last 2.
Yeah, so we'll figure it out.
To be perfectly clear, I'm new to like the space, so I'm trying to get my foot in the door at any possible.
Yep. Literally hit me up. We'll do a one-on-one conversation, and I'll point you in the right direction for like panels and combos and all that.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you, Connor.
Yep. Good night, guys.
See ya.
All right. So chat. Let's just chat real quick before we get out of here. So number 1, we were breaking Sticks Grift Crypto Hammer 666 says, I love Connor. Well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Parasocial love to you too. Sorry for not hanging out longer. Like I said, we are going to be streaming on Saturdays. We did peak out at like 120 tonight, which was fun. And then we were at like 100 for majority of the panel. I think people kind of dipped out when we started saying goodbyes and all that kind of shit, but we still have 70 cross-platform, which, to be honest, depending on the day, that's actually pretty good for me. So thank you for hanging out. I do want to thank Ginger Miss Prime for being our dono. If the consequences of disobeying God don't exist, the only next step is totalitarian state to enforce all morality. Anarchy is the only option. I don't agree. I think that you can evaluate consequence based off of natural consequence. I think that if you have a whole bunch of promiscuous sex unprotected and then you get an STD, you can learn not to have promiscuous sex without condoms and catching an STD. If you have a bunch of kids out of wedlock and you can't provide for them and they starve and they die, you can learn not to have kids out of wedlock. As a matter of fact, I would say that religion is very likely the consensus built by societies around moral behavior in order to optimize survivability. Now, of course, because they couched this in the existence of a extra material deity that, you know, kind of puts a little bit of a haywire in things. However, I still think that you should read Stoic philosophers. You should read philosophers in general. You should read religious and spiritual books, because basically people, all the questions that you've been asking yourself about life, death, God, eternity, you know, spirituality, connection to the universe, all that kind of stuff, none of this is new. There were people 3,000, 4,000 years ago who weren't just thinking about this stuff, they were writing it down. And so you can go back to them, and instead of slamming your head into a brick wall repeatedly, you can read their stuff and see if what they say resonates with you. And if it does, incorporate it. And if it doesn't, then don't. Right? Let's answer some questions, and let's get out of here. OG Cicero says, are you going to buy Steve the new Fulgrim model? I don't know who Steve. Oh, you know what? That would be funny. That would be a really funny gift. I don't have that much extraneous income, but let's say that Counterpoint Star Wars does really well. Let's say Counterpoint's 40K continues to do well. Buying a new Fulgrim model and then paying Mastermind models and miniatures to paint him to like their top tier and then giving it to Steven as a gift. That would be hysterical, because he would basically have like, you know, a dark god of excess and pleasure hanging out in the back of his stream. That would be fucking hilarious. Maybe I should do that. So we got to make sure, like, so I did DM Steven. I said like, hey, listen, you know, you fucked up. I might, you know, call a spade or whatever, but you know, I hope you recover and do better than ever, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, yeah, cool, whatever. And he wasn't like super dismissive or being a dick, but obviously he's going through it, and he's got plenty of messages probably telling him to off himself, and he's got plenty of messages of support from people who won't support him publicly. And obviously we have to wait to see what unveils, right? We just found out that he was still sexting somebody on January 9th. That might not be a behavior that he's interested in changing. And I think he's going to continue to hurt himself as long as he's a sexual hedonist. And then when it comes to like more serious stuff, I doubt that there's going to be sexual assault and rape shit, but you know, it's a possibility, right? So we gotta see what comes out of the woodwork. And then of course, if it's like sex assault or rape, it's like, dude, like I can't hang out with anybody like that, right? And the reason why is because you're basically the leaking. Let's say that an audio record, let's do the consequentialist argument. Okay, I brought this up in the stream. I'll bring it up now. Let's think about it consequentially. If a tree falls in the woods and nobody's around to observe it, did it really happen? That's the thing. So I'm not saying this is my argument. I'm saying that I've seen Vosh and Steven work themselves into consequentialist knots in order to justify the most retarded behavior that I've ever seen in my entire life. So if you audio record a sex act without the consent of the other person, you share it with another person privately, and then it never gets leaked, then did that have any harm? I think a consequential, I would say that it harms you because you're being a fucking piece of shit. And I actually believe in like neuroplasticity and moral behavior and all that kind of stuff. But I think a consequentialist would argue that like, oh no, there's no exterior harm. Therefore there's no harm at all. And so I wouldn't be surprised either consciously or subconsciously if Stevens thought something along those lines. But of course we've seen like, okay, well it did get leaked. So you did hurt people. And you obviously violated their trust and did something that was sneaky and creepy. And so is it a sneaky, creepy thing that he did because he didn't think that there would be any consequences to the behavior? Or is it because he actually like enjoys it? He gets like a visceral thrill out of a moral behavior. And if you get a visceral thrill out of a moral behavior, then obviously that's not, it's something I can't condone. 2, I don't know if I can be around it, right? Especially if there's no desire to change. Jebtan wanted sorrow and contrition and, you know, earnest emotions of like genuine empathy for the harm that you've caused. I think that what I've read about sociopathic and psychopathic literature, and, you know, I'm not trying to be overly armchair psychological about it, but from what I've read from sociopaths and psychopaths, it's like, no, you can't appeal to some higher morality or some sense of empathy. They are incapable of feeling it. They don't have the emotion of they hurt somebody else. What you have to appeal is to their own sense of well-being and self-preservation. And so I don't need Stephen, if he's actually sociopathic, I don't need him to feel remorse. I need him to stop a bad behavior and to not do it in the future. And if the clock stops at 1/9/25, then basically he has like years, like 2 or 3 years before I'm going to be like, yeah, you know, he cleaned up his act and he seems to be doing okay. I think he'll be fine. Like I wouldn't be willing to say that until 2028, you know, something like that. So yeah, so he's obviously, you know, fucked himself and fucked over a lot of his friends. Lib for Life says right wingers are high nose humans in name only. I don't agree. Jonah Boy says being anti-alien comes with age and wisdom. Once you outgrow that Mass Effect xenophile propaganda, you see the light. I agree. I'm reading C.S. Lewis right now. In fact, very base, Redmond Berry. I'm happy to hear that. Sex sensitivity is why I started hating religion to begin with, and their ideology has failed ever since. Okay. Sex is an incredibly important part of human life, and you should weigh it very seriously. So even if you don't agree with what religion has to say about sex, you should still consider their arguments versus the arguments of what I view to be the nihilist hedonism that is common in our culture. RC Armorsalt says, hear me out. A Night Lord Outlast game would be badass. I've never played Outlast, but if you're talking about almost like I've seen Predator games where you're a hunter. And so like Splinter Cell, right? Splinter Cell is one of the classics where you sneak around in the shadows and stab people and shoot them and hit them with less lethals and all that kind of stuff. A Night Lord's Splinter Cell game, a Night Lord or Raven Guard Splinter Cell game would be so sick. Do you know what would be even more sick? Just do that as a campaign expansion on Space Marine 2. Literally do a campaign for every chapter that features the character of that chapter, right? Wouldn't that be absolutely sick? Like they don't need to do a new engine. That engine was already fantastic. They don't need to do new graphics. The graphics are fantastic. They should do narrative expansions. Bud123 says Counterpoint Star Wars is awesome. There's cringe mixed in with the awesome, but I am happy to be breaking it down. RC Armorsalt says Counterpoint Star Wars explains. Yeah, so I'm doing a second channel, Counterpoint Star Wars. If you go to Counterpoints 40K, you check out the community tab. There's a couple of links to 2 of the videos. I have a 3rd video shot. I just haven't had an opportunity to edit it. Jonah Boy says Sherry, Lab, and Mr. Girl in a courtroom would be really funny to see. I mean, listen, that's what they're pretending like it's going to happen, and I don't think it's going to happen. Someone should put Destiny's face on the new Fulcrum model. True. I'm gonna start playing Mass Effect. Actually, true. I am not a xenophile, so I won't. Outlast is a great game in lore. It's based on Project MK Ultra in real life. Sick. A Night Lord's campaign would be dope. True. Why Star Wars? Oh, why Star Wars? Because it's probably 1,000 times more popular than Warhammer 40K. So it took me, I don't know. I started posting Warhammer content in earnest. I did an Astartes breakdown, I want to say in like 2020 or 2021. I'd have to check the date. But I did the Hammer and Bolter breakdowns in summer of 2022, like April. And so I've really been an active Warhammer channel for 3 years. And I got to 100K and I had really good metrics. And while Star Wars is not grimdark, I agree with you. There's grimdark aspects of it. There's cool aspects of it. So if you actually think about some of the scenes, like the Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith is grimdark. Revenge of the Sith is hardcore. There's entire battle scenes where you see thousands of people getting wiped out. You got people getting their arms cut off. You got people getting their heads cut off. You got slaves. You got genocide. You got death. You got this. You got that. The reason why it doesn't hit as hard is because they kind of package it for kids, or they package it at least for teenagers. But if you actually look at the themes, and if you look at the themes and you look at what is actually being conveyed, it can be hardcore. Excuse me. I had a burp I was suppressing. Star Wars Outlaws is a pretty good game. I am not going to play a game where I'm a female. I am sexist, so you're just going to have to deal with that. Dickie Boy says, a counterfire, all my friends are Trumpers. How do I be kind to right-wingers when they literally revel in suffering of others and expect to be coddled in their attempts to rape our republic? Ignore it. Ignore it as best you can. Like, what are you going to do, right? Are you going to move? You move. I don't think that's a very effective thing. I would just try to be chill and cool and explain your perspectives and be like, seriously, like, you think fucking over Mexicans is fun? What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, some Mexicans are assholes and they deserve to be in prison or deported. Some Mexicans are fucking great, and you're fucking over some great ones in order to fuck over the bad ones. So I don't know if that's a good move, but it is what it is. RC Armor Salt says, Clone Wars got a lot of content, 7 seasons, couple of spinoffs, 24 episodes each. True. That's the other thing, is Star Wars has a shitload of content. So I'm happy to break that down. RC says Clone Wars has political assassination, genocide, napalm, faking surrender, etc., and more. Yeah, exactly. So while the message is conveyed through a more childish or teenager medium, the content actually can be about as adult as you make it. For instance, excuse me, I might have to go in a minute, but even the second episode, the Confederates are killing surrendered clone troopers. They're in escape pods, and the Confederates are destroying the escape pods, even though the clone troopers are defenseless. It's actually, if you think about it, it's pretty hardcore. T1K Suave says, what's the aversion to female main characters? There are tons of great games with them. I'm not a gooner, so I don't like beating off to video game characters. And then I'm also not a trans person, so I don't like imagining myself as a woman. So if you're a gooner and you love gooning, good for you. If you're a trans person, good for you. If you're a progressive and you like playing as a female, good for you. It's not for me. Are you going to make a video shitting on the sequels? Probably. I'll try to pull out the cool moments. But yeah, there's obviously a lot of cringe. So I'll probably cut out the cringe and call it cringe. Trans lives matter, true. About not about that, about the story being told. I'm sexist, so you're just gonna have to deal with that. Not sure if we're on the same. Yeah. Well, maybe I'll just watch the story and then I'll break down the story. So yeah. Dat Boy says, nice debate on Whick stream. Mistborn would change your mind. Well, we'll figure it out. Anyways, thank you to the 70 people who are hanging out now. Obviously, like the stream. If you're not a YouTube member or a Twitch subscriber, please do so. We'll probably be going live this Saturday. So if you want to hang out again, then look out for me in the mid-afternoon EST. I'm going to try to do noon to 5, but I do have videos that I need to edit. So we'll try to figure out, like, how do I edit videos and stream at the same time? We'll and I'm not saying we will do it at the same time. I'm just saying that I have content that needs to go out. So we'll figure it out. But parasocial love to you and yours. Thank you to the 70 to 120 people who came out throughout the night. Thank you to our donors. Thank you to our members. Thank you to our subscribers. Have a great one. Bye for now.